Naruto God Level System, Chapter 641 to 660. Chapter 641 Combat Test. Seeing the two women staring at each other all the time, Chen also let them go, as long as they didn't fight. If they did fight, they would both be taught a lesson. After the teacher came in, he found that Chen was coming, nodded, and saw that Chen and Yi moved to the back, and there were more people around, and he didn't say anything. As long as there is no trouble, everything is easy to say, and the teacher is also very tolerant towards these geniuses. Of course, the main reason is that it is rumored that Chen has a close relationship with the captain of the 4th Division, Ujawali, so the teacher can tolerate it. Otherwise, if you change someone, such as Aizen, if you are the same as Chen, you will definitely be taught a lesson. Of course, Aizen is a good student, and the teacher who is most satisfied with the class is Aizen. Today we are going to have a practice class, a real practice class, to fight against the real virtual. If you are afraid, you can choose to quit, the teacher said from the podium. After hearing Yi, she was immediately excited, and she had always wanted to play against Shu to test the results of years of training. It's just that the people in the family will not let Yi do such a dangerous thing now. Yi is the strongest genius of the Sifeng family, and the family members are very afraid that she will die. So when Yi hasn't grown up, his 290s will never let Yi do such dangerous things. Yi has always wanted to fight Shu and test his strength, and now he finally has a chance. Humph, what are you doing so happy? To serve Shu as food, are you so happy? Chang's voice, not too small, reached Yi's ears. What did you say? You are the food for Shu. Yi jumped up angrily. Yi at Sifeng Courtyard, what are you doing? Sit down for me, the teacher roared with a gloomy face. Yi sat down angrily, while the dome face was expressionless and didn't even look at her. Yi is not yet mature at this time. Just like a pack of dynamite, it explodes at one point. Soon I came to the training ground. This is a training ground specially built by the Junyang Academy of Spiritual Arts. There are many phantoms detained in it, just for the students to test. There are teachers observing here, and members of the Gote 13th team are here to guard to prevent accidents. But under normal circumstances, it is impossible for an accident to happen, because there is not even a large virtual Kyrian here. All of them are ordinary virtual, powerful virtual and giant virtual. There is not one big virtual. It is suitable for people of lower grades to come here to try. These virtuals are so weak. Yi looked at the wandering ordinary virtual with disappointment on his face. This kind of incorporeal body is small in size and large in number. It can only howl, and its strength is only a little stronger than ordinary people in this world. Most of them are this kind of emptiness. Basically, one punch can solve one. This is still for ordinary death gods. If it was Yi, one punch could kill a large area. How can Yi be satisfied with such a weak opponent? What she wants is the kind of opponent who can really fight her. Yichi, do you want to form a team together? Urahara Kazuki shouted. Do you still need to form a team to kill such a weak guy? Yi said speechlessly. Urahara-san, why don't you form a team with me? Aizen came over with a warm smile on his face. Okay, Urahara Kazuki smiled, but frowned secretly. He always felt that the man who always had a smile in front of him was very dangerous. Why are you still standing here? Didn't you say you wouldn't form a team? Chang looked at Yi, who was an eyesore, and wanted to drive her away. But how could Yi leave, and the more Chang tried to drive her away, the less Yi would be able to leave. If you two make trouble again, don't blame me for teaching you. Chen stood between the two of them and separated them with a headache. Breaking the way 31 red cannons. Chang snorted softly, abandoning the chanting red cannons with one move, and instantly beat those ordinary dummies into spirits. After the fight, Chang turned his head and glanced at Yi. Although she didn't say anything, Yi already felt the provocation, so she was not to be outdone. It's just some common virtuals, what's there to be proud of? Yi used Shunpo to instantly disappear, and he could kill several normal virtuals with one punch. Che tilde mindless warrior, I'm a mage. Chong came with another King Huo Pang, killing a large area again. Compared with the moves that can kill a large number of people by moving their mouths, Yi Yi's physical skills are not comparable, at least in terms of gorgeousness, they are crushed. However, the other students have already focused their attention on Chong, abandoning the chant and using the Dao above number 30, which the average Gote 13 team members can't do. Aizen glanced at Chong cautiously. This little girl is not simple, it seems that she needs to focus on observation. The teacher felt a little ashamed, even if he could only reluctantly use number 30 to break the road, he felt that he was inferior to a little girl. Yi Yi bit Kiba, her physical skills are indeed strong, but in terms of splendor, it can't be compared with the piercing Dao used by Chong. As for the Ghost Way, Yi Yi didn't study much, just learned some simple ways of breaking the way and binding the way, so it's not shameful to take it out. Chen looked bored. These ordinary emptiness seemed to have no value to kill at all, and could not give rise to the desire to do something at all. Roar. With a violent roar, countless ordinary virtuals showed fear, and some were crushed to death by powerful spiritual pressure. What is this? What happened? The teacher was startled and prayed in his heart that nothing would go wrong. A Killian was roaring wildly, and the giant virtual was crushed to death by him, and then swallowed it. This Killian was originally a giant void, but after swallowing each other, it suddenly evolved. After evolution, hunger accompanied it, and at this time it just wanted to devour food to fill the hunger and the emptiness in its heart. Dashu Jillian, how can Dashu Jillian appear? Said the Death God team member guarding here in panic. Killian said that in the virtual circle, he was just an ordinary cannon fodder, but if it was a combat-type Killian, his strength would not be weaker than the vice-captain. These Grim Reaper players are not opponents at all. Hurry up and notify the captain. The Reaper team shouted loudly, and at the same time ordered the students who were conducting the actual combat test to retreat. This is Killian, especially the Mad Killian. Without the arrival of the vice-captain, it is really difficult to win. Cut tilde, Chong just glanced at Daksu Jillian and lost interest. In Chong's eyes, not to mention Killian, Achukas, or even Vastord, are not enough for her to fight. Yi Yi was a little excited, and finally a decent opponent came. How could it be possible for her to retreat at this time? Yi Yi not only did not obey the order to retreat, but instead charged towards Killian. Chen also didn't worry. With Yi Yi's current strength, he really wouldn't be weaker than the vice-captain, and although Daksu Jillian said that his strength was comparable to that of the vice-captain, he was only comparable to an ordinary vice-captain. In a fight, this Killian is definitely not a match for Yi Yi. Chapter 642 Ready to Graduate. When Yi Yi used Shunpo, his body turned into an afterimage. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Daksu Jillian, and even those Death God team members were unable to capture Yi Yi's figure. Watch me punch you out. An extremely violent punch hit the back of Daksu Killian, and the tall Killian flew out like a rag doll. Violent woman, Chong said lightly. Dashu Jillian, I thought how powerful it could be, but it turned out to be nothing more than that. Yi Yi said with a smile. At this time, before Yi Yi did his full strength, he blasted Daksu Jillian out, which made Yi Yi a little proud. She looked at Chen, wanting to see his surprised look, but she was disappointed, and Chen's eyes were as calm as water. But thinking of Chen's strength, Yi Yi was a little discouraged. She also challenged Chen several times, but was easily defeated every time. It's really powerful, as expected of a person from the four great nobles. Aizen said with a smile. Urahara Kazuki glanced at Aizen. Listening to Aizen's laughter, he felt uncomfortable. Although Aizen gave people a very friendly feeling, Urahara Kazuki felt a little hypocritical. Daksu Jillian, who really resisted the beating, received Yi Yi's fist, quickly got up, and then used a virtual flash towards Yi Yi. Void Flash is Daksu's unique trick, but if Kiryan uses it, it takes a long time to collect Reiatsu to release it. Therefore, Although the virtual flash is very strong, the hit rate is pitifully low, and Yaiki is originally a speed type. It's really slow and pitiful, and Dashu is not so good. Yi avoided the virtual flash for a moment, and then punched countless afterimages with his fists, letting people see what is called 100 punches in 1 second. Poor Killian was killed here by Yi just like that. The death was really tragic. So strong is he, the princess of the Siphon Yuan family. Played the Oil Chan Oil could not help but sigh that if they served, they would definitely be delivering food to Killian. After being a full member of the Gote 13th team for so many years, they are a little ashamed that they can't even compete with the students who haven't graduated yet. How is it? Am I good? Yi asked Chen after killing Kirian. What's so powerful? But it's just an empty circle of cannon fodder. You seem very proud of killing one. Chen gave Yi a blow. Chen is right. Kasuga Yi Chong nodded. Damn. Yi was extremely depressed. Even if he killed a Kirian, it would be fine if he didn't praise her, but he actually hit her. No, why did she want them to praise? After a while, the members of the 11th team came, but they came to play, and Killian was already beheaded by Yi. It is worth mentioning that in half a year, the captain of the 11th team is already the 4th. Ujawali was the first-generation captain, but half a year ago, she was transferred to the 4th division as the captain, and in the past 6 months, the second-generation captain and the third-generation captain have all died. Other squads would not necessarily change their captains once in hundreds of years, and the 11th squads would change several captains in half a year. The main reason is that the 11th team is a combat team, and they often fight against Shu, and the 11th team's strength is the captain must be able to convince people. People who think they are powerful can basically become the next captain as long as they challenge the current captain, as long as they can win. This is also the reason for the diligent change of the 11th team captain. Because of this incident, although there were no casualties, the actual combat test was obviously impossible to continue. The teacher can only take the students back. It's boring, I'm going to graduate early. Chen felt that life at the True Spirit Academy was particularly boring. Originally Chen entered the Junyang Spiritual Arts Academy in order to complete Shikai. Now that Shikai is available, naturally there is no need to stay here. What? You want to graduate early? Yi looked at Chen strangely. You've only been at the academy for half a year. What have you learned in the past 6 months? Some advanced knowledge teachers haven't taught you yet. Yiji's high-level knowledge is Ghost Wei and Shunpo. However, Chen is not interested. Gui Daochen has already learned everything, and in Shunbu, when Yi used Shunbu, Chen has learned it, and there is no difficulty at all. And Shunbu is actually meaningless to Chen. He can teleport in space, which is much stronger than Shunbu. Graduate in half a year. I remember that the earliest graduation was 2 years later. Chen, are you going to set a new record? Aizen asked with a smile. Actually, I think Aizen also has the ability to graduate, isn't it? Chen looked at Aizen meaningfully. In the whole school, apart from Chen, I am afraid that no one is Aizen's opponent. Even if Aizen hasn't completed Shikai yet, and hasn't come into contact with those high-level ghosts, but now Aizen and the captain-level death god will not necessarily lose. Aizen's spiritual pressure is very strong, and it is a bit terrifying. Although he hides well, in front of Chen, any hiding is meaningless. Me, Chen, you look at me too highly, I can't do it. Aizen shook her head quickly. It's okay to graduate. It's really uncomfortable to go to school with you all day long. Kasuga Nozomi complained. Kasuga Yi-chang didn't want to go to school, but just wanted to follow Chen, so she came to school together, otherwise she would rather stay at home and sleep. Then I also want to apply for graduation. Yi said. In fact, for Yi, who came from a noble family, he did not come to the True Spiritual Art Institute to study, but to give the old man Yamamoto a face. Yamamoto Motoyanagi, the founder of the True Spiritual Art Institute, those nobles wanted to sell him well, so they let their children come to the True Spiritual Art Institute. The True Spirit Academy taught them, but not as much as the family taught them. What are you following along for the fun? After graduating, will you join the Xingjun? Yi looked at Chen expectantly. The Xingjun is the second division, responsible for tasks such as execution and assassination. I'm not interested, I have already agreed with Mao Zhawali, I will go to the fourth team. Chen Kai would not join the second team. Except for the fourth division, which is relatively easy, the other divisions have their own tasks, and they can't relax at all, but Chen wants to be a salted fish. After class, Chen went to the office and told the teacher that he wanted to apply for early graduation. Why do you want to graduate early? You are too early, right? The teacher frowned. If Chen's aristocratic background, it doesn't matter, but according to the records, Chen was born in Liuhun Street. Born in Liuhun Street, what can I learn now in half a year? So if Chen didn't give him a reason to convince him, he would definitely not agree. Because it was so boring in school, I didn't feel interested, so I wanted to graduate early. Is this a problem? Chen asked. The teacher's face darkened. What is the reason? If it is this reason, he will never agree. Chapter 643 Return to the Virtual Circle. In the end, the teacher, who disagreed in every possible way, immediately agreed to Chen's early graduation after Matsuri's trump card. As for the trump card, of course, it was Zanpakudo's Shikai. Chen told the teacher that he was ready for Shikai, and the teacher almost fell to the ground in shock. A pity that he lived for hundreds of years and didn't finish Shikai of Zanpakudo. This teacher wanted to cry so much, it was really shocking. After completing Zanpakudo's Shikai, there is no problem in graduating early. As long as you can perform Zanpakudo Shikai, at worst, you can go to Gote 13 as the third seat. However, there is an exam for graduation. This exam is not easy. You need to go to the virtual circle to hunt enough ghosts. The teacher reminded Chen. Graduate early, and the exams are different. You have to follow the expedition to the virtual circle to conquer the virtual. The main thing is to clean up those emptiness, so that the emptiness of the world is not too flooded, which is a very dangerous thing. Of course, the students who graduated early from the True Spiritual Arts Academy would only be mixed up when they go to take the exam. The danger is indeed there, but it is not great. No problem, Chen said, and then left. Not long after Chen left, Yi came to the office and also proposed to the teacher to graduate early. Yi was better than Chen, and Chen wanted to show him Shikai, but Yi agreed directly. The strength of Yi, the teacher also saw that day, can kill Daksu Jillian. She is about to graduate, the teacher has no opinion. You really want to graduate early? Urahara Kazuki asked in surprise after hearing the teacher's announcement. Not only him, Kuchiki Kangchun, Aizen, and others couldn't help but glance at Chen and Yi. Before, Aizen thought Chen was joking, but she didn't expect to graduate early. Of course it's true. It's really annoying to come to class all day long. Yi said. In fact, she didn't want to come here for class. Yi is more active and has been sitting here all the time. Of course, she can't calm down. If it wasn't for the family who didn't let her drop out, she might have chosen to drop out. Your family agrees with you to graduate early? Urahara Kazuki asked with a frown. What if they don't agree? They don't know, so I don't want to listen to the arrangement of a group of old guys. Yi said rather unhappily. Those old guys don't have the strength to fart, they know how to point fingers every day, and Yi is already tired of it. Okay, you should be careful about graduating early, after all, you have to go to the virtual circle. Urahara Kazuki reminded. The virtual circle is a virtual territory, and if something happens there, it is too late to ask for help. Do you want to graduate early? Yaiki asked Urahara Kazuki. Forget it, I feel like there's still a lot to learn here. Kazuki Urahara shook his head. Why are you graduating early with Chen? Kasuga Yi-chang gave Yi a dissatisfied look. I'll be happy, can you handle it? A little bit tilde. Kasuga Yi-chang was so angry that he turned his head and ignored her. Don't worry, I will definitely take care of you after the virtual circle. Yi Yi patted Chen's shoulder. You take care of me. I think it's fine. You don't need me to take care of you. Chen glanced at her and said. Are you underestimating me? I can tell you that my strength is not the level that I have displayed now. Even Achukas, I have the confidence to kill. Yi Yi was very confident. Really? Have you seen Achukas? Or have you fought Achukas? I don't. Then why do you say that you have the confidence to kill Achukas? I think you should stop blowing it. If you blow it again, the sky will be broken. Chen shook his head and said. I don't believe it, right? Well, after I go to the virtual circle, I'll kill an Achukas to show you how good I am. Yi Yi clenched her fist. She must prove herself. The virtual circle is so big, it's not easy to meet Achukas. Chen took Chang's hand and walked out. Yi Yi followed and went outside to see Ujawali and the grass deer Bachinliu lying on Ujawali's body. Why are you here? Chen looked at them unexpectedly. Dad. Kaolu Bachinliu slammed into Chen's arms and rubbed Chen's face affectionately. Kasuga Yi Chang pouted and tugged Chen with his hand, feeling a little jealous in her heart. That's right, she also eats the jealousy of this little fellow Bachinliu. And the gentle face of the flower in front of him made Kasuga Yi Chang even more vigilant, and the vigilance in his eyes was revealed unabashedly. Ujawali looked at Kasuga Yechang who was holding Chen's hand, and smiled softly. Humph! Kasuga Yi Chang snorted softly, not buying it. Aren't you going to graduate early and go to the virtual circle? I will follow you this time, Ujawali said with a smile. Maojawali is the one who is in charge of the safety of Chen and Yi. After all, those who can graduate early are good seedlings, and the 13th team of the Guardian does not want the students who graduate early to sacrifice. So even if you go to the virtual circle to hunt and kill the virtual, you will send the captain-level death god to protect the safety. Actually, I was going to send the captain of the 5th division, but this errand was taken over by Uno Hanaritsu. Ujawali wanted to pick her up, and no one dared to snatch her. Although Ujawali wears a gentle smile every day, no one will forget her cruelty. Chen, Chunri Yechang, Maojawali, Bachinliu, and Yi Yi in a group of 5 entered the virtual circle. Looking at this desolate scenery, Chen couldn't help but say, I didn't expect that I would step into the virtual circle again not long ago. Have you been to the virtual circle before? Yi Yi looked at Chen in surprise. This is a secret, it's better for children not to inquire so much. Chen pushed Yi Yi, who had come over, away. Cut tilde, who cares? Yi Yi felt a little unhappy when she was called a child. What makes her look like a child? Did you hear that, kid? Kasuga Yezong deliberately glanced at Yiki's chest. She would never forget that Yi Yi had mocked her for being small before, saying that she was small, but she was obviously not big. No matter how young I am stronger than you. Yi Yi said involuntarily, noticing Kasuga Yi Chang's gaze. At this time, several dead gods came over not far away. This was the camp of the expeditionary army. They already knew that Chen and the others were coming, and they had already been notified, but they were very unhappy with Chen and the others in their hearts. Originally, it was very difficult for them to deal with Shu. After all, this is the territory of Shu, and now they have to assign people to protect people. Of course, they will be unhappy in their hearts. You can be yours, and I'll take care of them, Ujawali said to them. Yes, Captain Unohana. This **** of death was very happy in his heart. They didn't need to assign people to protect the 2 people who graduated early. Of course they were happy. As long as it's not very critical, I won't take action, Ujawali said to Chen and Yi. Of course, these words were mainly said to Yi, but Ujawali knew Chen's strength, and Achukas probably wouldn't be enough to kill Chen with a single sword. Chapter 644 Domineering Shikai, Gun of Destruction. In the virtual circle, the virtual can be seen basically everywhere. This is the camp of the Death Expeditionary Army. Because the surrounding area has been cleaned up, there is no strong virtual. As long as Daxu Jillian approaches, these gods of death will clean them up, and the rest are just some ordinary voids. I didn't even see a Kyrian. Is this really a virtual circle all over the world? Yi Yi complained. Wait out of this 10-kilometer range. It's not uncommon for Daxu. Don't be careless on the night. Killian lives in groups. Ujawali saw Sifengyuan Ye's casual look, and couldn't help reminding her. Even the death gods of the expeditionary army who have been fighting with Shu all the year round must be careful here, and Sifengyuan Ye is completely a newborn calf who is not afraid of tigers. If you haven't seen the ferociousness of the virtual, you will never know the horror of the virtual. Soon after leaving the camp, the number of phantoms began to gradually increase, and those phantoms that hunted food could be seen everywhere. Although the ghosts in the virtual circle are very abundant, the living ghosts here will not be hungry, but they will still hunt for food. Hunting is not to fill the stomach, but to evolve and fill the emptiness in the heart. Yi Yi used a shallow attack to kill a Kyrian with one knife, without giving it time to call for its companions. It feels very relaxing, but as soon as the night was finished, he felt the ground vibrate, and a dark figure in the distance. So many Killians, and Achukas. Uno Hanari frowned, then pulled Zanpakuto out. It should be Achukas who took Killian to attack the expedition's base. I didn't expect us to meet, Chen said, looking at Shu in front of him. The powerful spiritual pressure made Yi Yi serious, and leaned towards Chen. Seeing so much emptiness, Yi Yi was a little terrified. Yakiryu, you come down first and let me deal with it. I haven't tried Zanpakuto Shikai yet. Chen took Yakiryu, who was lying on his back, and handed it to Uno Hanaritsu. Can you do it alone? Ujawali asked. If so many Daxu attacked together, it would be a headache for Maujawali himself. If you want to kill these Daxu, it will take some effort to use Maujawali to surpass the strength of ordinary captains. No problem, it's just trivial for me. Chen pulled out the pitch-black Zanpakuto, the pitch-black blade engrossing the heart. Haruhi Chong looked calm, although she didn't know how strong Chen was, but she could destroy these emptiness, and Chen could definitely do it. Chen, you have to be careful, don't be brave. Yi Yi said, she was the most worried. Come on, Dad, kill these ugly monsters. Bachenliu shouted with his fist raised. Destroy him. Guns of destruction. The dark sword turned into a black long spear, and the aura of destruction was released, and the rushing over couldn't help but stop. It feels very strong. Chen waved his spear towards the front, and a destructive air blade passed by. As long as it is hit by the destruction chi blade, no matter whether it is hit or not, everything will collapse and disappear, and even the spiritual child will not be left behind, completely disappearing. More than 100 Daxu Jillian, because of Chen's one move, was completely wiped out. Only Achuka survived, relying on the swivel to avoid the swept air blade, and then survived. Yi Yi's mouth widened in surprise. Isn't this power a bit too powerful? Thinking about how complacent he was because he killed a few Killian, now Yi Yi feels a little embarrassed. With just one move, Dashu was almost wiped out, and even Mauji Walai was surprised. Damn, who are you? Achukas looked at Chen with anger and fear in his heart. Originally, he had already inquired about the situation here. This Achukas has figured out how much strength this group of death gods has. This time, he is preparing to destroy them in one fell swoop, devour these gods of death, and prepare for evolution into Vastord. The temptation of the god of death is very strong, and the benefits of swallowing the god of death are definitely stronger than swallowing the god of death, because the power of the god of death is relatively pure. But now he was unlucky, and he met Chen all of a sudden. If there were no Chen and the others, perhaps the death gods of the expedition army would have become empty food. With more than 100 Daxu Kyrian, plus an Achukas who is not weaker than the captain, those expedition forces are basically certain to die. But maybe they shouldn't die. Because of Chen and the others, they saved a small life this time. I don't want to talk nonsense with you, you should die. In Chen's eyes, Achukas is indeed a minion, but Achukas is angry, and he is also a hegemon in the virtual circle. He is also the person who is in charge of one party. In the virtual circle, except for Balagang, who dare not provoke him, he will not give face to anyone. How could Achukas be able to endure that he was called a scumbag even though he was so loud? Give me death. Achukas used the ring to turn, and instantly came to Chen's face, his claws grabbed towards Chen's head. Scoff tilde. The spear of destruction pierced through his body, Achukas's arm drooped down weakly, and his body was gradually collapsing. Void has super speed regeneration, but the gun of destruction is designed to restrain creatures with strong recovery ability, and the super speed regeneration is not as fast as the destruction of the gun of destruction. It soon collapsed completely, and even the spiritual power was destroyed. This gun of destruction is a bit overbearing. Chen reckoned that if Vastord was shot, he would die, no matter whether he hit the key or not. As long as you can leave wounds on the opponent's body, the opponent will be slowly destroyed by the power of destruction, unless you can fight against this power of destruction. This is really a bit domineering. It can be said to be a one-hit kill, but I don't know what will happen to Bankai. Shikai is already so powerful, let alone 860 Bankai. Bankai may be a stronger pervert, at least not worse than Zenka no Tachi. It's easy to solve the Achuka's level emptiness. Chen, you are really strong. Is this spear your Zanpakudo Shikai? Uno Hanalai couldn't help sighing. This gun is so familiar, I seem to have seen it somewhere. Yi frowned as he looked at the gun of destruction in Chen's hand. By the way, her black rabbit, Chen, how is your Zanpakudo the same as hers? Yi suddenly remembered when he saw Kasuga Yi Chong. Kasugano Shikai had done it before, and she was surprised at that time. The Zanpakudo Shikai of Kasuga Yezong is exactly the same except that it is shorter than Tatsu's Shikai. An enlarged version of Kasuga Nozomi Shikai. Ujawali heard the words, glanced at Kasuga Yi Chong, and said solemnly, "Don't tell me about this, otherwise there will be trouble." The soul world does not allow two identical Zanpakudo to appear. If it is found, one of them will be obliterated. As for the reason, Uno Hanalai is not clear. Because I am Tatsu's Zanpakudo incarnate, of course I can use the same Shikai as Tatsu. Kasuga Yi Chong said lightly. This is not something that cannot be said. However, upon hearing this news, Maojawali and Yi were both very surprised. Only Bachinliu didn't understand at all, with a curious expression on their faces. Chapter 645 Haribel and Nailu. Looking at your appearance, is it strange that Zanpakudo materializes? Chen asked, looking at Uno Hanaritsu and the others. Of course it's strange, I've never heard of Zanpakudo materialize. Yi nodded slightly. Maybe Tatsu's Zanpakudo is strange. Uno Hanari couldn't understand how Tatsu made Zanpakudo materialize. No wonder Kasuga Yi Chu suddenly appeared beside you, so she is your Zanpakudo. Yi felt that he could explain it now. In the past, Yi was very strange. Where did Kasuga Yi Chong come from? Now I finally figured out. It turns out that Kasuga Yechiang is Chen's Zanpakudo. No wonder it appeared out of thin air. It's better not to talk about this matter, otherwise I don't know if there will be trouble. Yi reminded. Anahaka nodded. Yaiki is right, hide it as much as you can. It doesn't matter, even if others know, what can they do to me? Chen chuckled and said. In the whole world of the god of death, no one is his opponent. When he first came to the world of the god of death, Chen could hang the whole world. Now that he got Bengyu by lottery, and absorbed Bengyu, his strength has doubled, and now Chen himself does not know how strong he is. Don't be careless, although you seem to be very powerful, the power of the soul world is equally powerful and terrifying. Yi looked at Chen with an indifferent look, and reminded cautiously. Ujawali didn't say anything, and if she could kill her in one move, Chen's strength would definitely not be weaker than Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju. You have killed so many ghosts. Now that you have passed the assessment, you can graduate, Ujawali said with a smile. It's done now. How long have we been in the virtual circle? Isn't it considered qualified to hunt down 10 killion by one person? I don't seem to be qualified yet. Yi said. Before the more than 100 Kirin, all of them were killed by Chen, and Yi only killed 2 Kirin. This exam is just a test of your strength. You can easily kill the 2 Kirins. That's enough, Ujawali said. According to Ujawali's estimation, Yaiki's strength is no longer weaker than that of ordinary captains, and he is fully capable of graduating early. No, I have to find an opponent to test my specific strength. Yi shook his head and said. Aren't you looking for an Achukas as an opponent? Chen looked at Yi speechlessly. He had been in the virtual circle for a while, but he knew very well how hard Achukas was to find. The entire virtual circle is very large, and the number of Kilian is also very large, but the number of Achukas is simply pitiful. Just being able to meet an Achukas was already an explosion of luck. And it was because that Achukas was going to attack the camp of the expeditionary army, so they were met by Chen, otherwise it would be really difficult to meet Achukas. However, Yi is firm, you must find an opponent and test your own strength. It is not easy to come to the virtual circle, how can you easily leave? Although the virtual circle is desolate, there is nothing worth seeing, but for Yi, the virtual circle is very novel. Since birth, he has been in the soul world, and now he has stepped into the virtual circle, and he is very curious about everything in the virtual circle at night. Since you have to find Achukas, come with me. Chen took Yaiki, Ujawali and the others to use their space abilities to disappear. Where is this place? Yi asked involuntarily when he saw the sudden change in the surrounding scenery. This place seems to be the forest of Great Void. Generally, those who go to the world to make trouble come from here. Ujawali looked here, very familiar. Maujawali once also led people to conquer the virtual circle, and is very familiar with the virtual circle. Uno Hanalai glanced around, then turned his eyes to the woman in front, and held Zanpakudo involuntarily. Ujawali could feel that the woman in front was very strong, and the powerful Reiatsu could not escape her perception. Lord Chen. Halibal was overjoyed when she saw Chen, and came over to salute Chen. Halibal, I didn't expect you to be still in the Great Void Forest now. Chen thought that Halibal had left here now, but she didn't expect to follow the space marker on Halibal's body and teleport over, and she was still in the Great Void Forest. Yeah, here, you can strengthen your strength. Halibal pointed to the crowds of phantoms that were locked by the chains formed by spiritual power. At this time, Halibal was stronger than when Baiken left. It is estimated that in the virtual circle, no one is Halibal's opponent. So many Achukas. Yi looked at Dashu around him, his eyes dull. There are more than 20 Achukas here. If this power appears in the Soul realm, it will definitely be a heavy blow to the Soul realm. And the woman in front of you should be fake, right? Yi has already seen the mask that belongs to the virtual. Don't you want an opponent? Choose yourself. Chen pointed to the trapped Achukas. Chen, what happened to her? Why are you still colluding with Shu? Yi asked, feeling a little angry. Grim Reaper and Void are mortal enemies. Carabel is my subordinate. Yi was a little messy, and a god of death actually accepted a dummy as his subordinate, and he had never heard of it. In fact, Chen is not a god of death, he is a human being, and he does not only have a soul body like the god of death. Chen, you'd better not let other people know about this matter, otherwise Jing Lingting will never spare you. Yi was very serious this time. All right, as long as you don't inform, no one else will know. Chen said calmly. Even if I don't tell the truth, isn't there someone else? Yi looked at Ujawali. Maujawali smiled slightly. She knew that Chen was smuggled into the soul realm, and she didn't say anything about it, and she wouldn't say anything about Chen Yuo's subordinate. By the way, who is behind you? Chen pointed to Vastord who was standing behind Halibal and stared blankly at him. This is the Vastord I met. I originally wanted to kill her and devour her spiritual power, but because she was a bit similar to me before, I let her go. Now she is always by my side. Belle said. This Worstard seems to be a little dumb. Chen said, looking at Worstard behind him. My name is Nelly El Duadshovank, you can call me Neil, you are the Lord, Halibal said. Neil came over and looked around Chen a few times. Nilu, don't be rude, Haribel said seriously. Oh, Nilu nodded, shrinking back in fear. Because she was almost killed by Haribel, Nilu was a little afraid of Haribel. If it wasn't for Nilu's unwillingness to kill, some of her simple personalities were a bit similar to the former Halibal, allowing Halibal to see her former self, and now Nilu is dead. Chapter 646 Return to the Realm of Souls. Instant coax. Yaiki's back and shoulders were wrapped in a high concentration of Reiatsu, the clothes on his back and shoulders were torn, and then he entered instant coax mode. At this time, Yi Yi's punch and kick can exert great power, which is the stunt of the Saifeng Academy. As soon as his right foot stepped on the ground, the figure disappeared in an instant, and then appeared beside Ichuka's, his fist wrapped Reiatsu, and hit Ichuka's. Boom tilde. Ichuka's was smashed into the sand, and the entire great void forest trembled. Have you solved it? Yaiki used the spirit to pave the way, standing in the air, his eyes fixed on the position of Ichuka's who was driven into the ground. Suddenly, more than a dozen virtual bullets rushed out of the ground and hit Yi Yi in the air. Compared with the virtual flash, the power of the virtual bullets was relatively small. However, although the power is small, the speed is somewhat terrifying, 20 times that of the virtual flash. However, speed is Yi Yi's strong point. Even if more than a dozen virtual bullets block any of Yi Yi's dodging positions, he is still avoided by Yi Yi using the empty cicada. In fact, this empty cicada is similar to the basic ninjutsu avatar technique. Of course, it is more advanced than the avatar technique, and it can be compared with Dao 60 Shimaru's magical technique, the Orochimaru avatar technique. It's really hard to beat. Kasuga Yi-chang, who was eating potato chips, pouted. I feel that Yi Yi is very powerful. Yachinliu sat beside Kasuga Yi-chang and ate potato chips with Chang. Nilu was holding her Zanpakuto and was looking at it curiously. At this moment, she helped her to finish the face, and she is now broken. Maojawali was very curious about the broken face, and it was the first time that he had seen or even heard of Shu's death. I feel much better than before, so that I will never be bullied again, Nilu said with a happy smile. Nilu, have you been bullied often before? Hearing this, Nilu glanced at Halibal, then shook her head quickly. Did Halibal bully you? Chen asked curiously. Just now Nilu was looking at Halibal secretly, but Chen also found out. No, Nilu shook her head nervously. I'm all for your own good. It's impossible to have no strength in the virtual circle. Your strength is too weak. I'm just helping you improve your strength. Halibal glanced at Nilu and said. In fact, half a month ago, Nilu was still Ichuka's, but Halibal let her forcibly devour other Ichukas, and she evolved into Vastord. But Nilu didn't want to kill at all, and she didn't want to devour other Ichukas at all, but Ichukas who was killed by Halibal, the spiritual power left behind was forcibly devoured by Halibal, so let Nilu be very dissatisfied. But there is no way to be dissatisfied, and she can't resist. Haribel's strength is not something she can resist. Okay, Halibal, don't force Nilu to do things that Nilu doesn't want to do in the future. Chen rubbed Nilu's hair and said. Yes, Haribel nodded. Really? Great. Nilu jumped up happily. She's really special. Ujawali looked at Nilu and said. Most of the virtuals are very cruel, and it is very surprising to see a simple one, Ujawali. Even Maojawali is very strange. How did Nilu survive in this cruel virtual circle, where there is only killing and being killed? The virtual circle is more cruel than the Lu Soul Street in the Soul Society. Hu tilde. I finally solved this Ichuka's, it's really hard. Yi Yi exhaled sharply. Ichuka's strength is comparable to the captain's level, of course, it is only comparable. When the captain of the Gote 13 is not using Bankai, Ichuka's can still compete with ordinary captains. But if Bankai is used, Ichuka's is basically the last to die. After staying in the virtual circle for half a month, there were already 6 or 7 Ichukas who died in the hands of Yi Yi. In the past half month, Yi Yi's strength has been greatly improved, and his combat experience has been rapidly improved. The virtual circle is so boring, let's leave. Chang looked at the virtual circle, which was a wasteland except for sand, with disgust in his eyes. Faced with this kind of environment all the time, you will basically get bored, and only one who faces this kind of environment will get used to it. Yes, I also feel a little tired of looking at it. Chen stood up and said. Halibal, you are swallowing like this now. In fact, you can't improve your strength. Now you should cultivate on your own. Chen said to Halibal. Even if Halibal devoured Vastord, but now Halibal's strength is technically more than ordinary Vastrad, and there is not much improvement from swallowing them. It takes a long time to create a Vastord, and now Halibal's pay and return are completely disproportionate. Yeah, Lord Chen, I originally wanted to leave. Halibal nodded. She has also realized that the ordinary Vastord can no longer bring her improvement. The reason why Haribel is still here now is to help Nailu improve her strength. But now Chen said, don't force Nailu to do things she doesn't like, so Halibal doesn't plan to stay here. Master Chen wants to leave. Nailu looked at Chen, feeling a little reluctant. Well, in the future, when I have time, I will come to the virtual circle to see the two of you. Chen opened a dark space cave in front of him. Oh, Lord Chen still has Bachenliu. Remember to visit us in the future. Nailu beckoned to Chen and Bachenliu. Yeah, I'll come and play with Daddy with Nailu. Bachenliu nodded his head. Nailu had been playing with Yakiryu before, so the relationship between the two of them was very good now. Chen and his party walked into the space cave, and then returned to the Soul realm. Just as they stepped into the Soul realm, Yi Yi collapsed in Chen's arms exhausted. In the past half-month, Yi Yi was really exhausted. He fought almost every day, but he was not injured, and he was healed by Usualai, but he was very tired. Although the Grand Master replied that Uno Hanaritsu could basically heal any injury, he couldn't relieve his exhaustion. Are you taking advantage? Kasuga Yi Chang pulled Yi Yi from Chen's arms and looked at Yi Yi badly. Whatever taking advantage, even if he wants to take advantage, it's him who takes advantage of me. Yi Yi looked at Kasuga Yechang angrily. HMPH. I can't see it, and it's not like there are no female perverts. Chang snorted softly, staring at Yi Yi with contempt. Yi Yi almost spat out a mouthful of blood, and actually called her a female pervert. If she didn't think she couldn't beat Kasuga Yi Chang, Yi Yi would definitely make her look good. When he was in the virtual circle, Chang also showed his strength, and easily killed several Achukas, which was completely impossible this night. So Yi Yi had to admit humbly that her strength was not as strong as Chang's, and even the gap seemed to be a little bigger. Chapter 647 Join the 4th Division. After a few days of rest, Chen and Yi, who had already completed the early graduation assessment, also came to select the squad. Yi of course chose the second team, and of course she didn't have a choice. Even if she didn't want to join the second team, she would not agree to join. And Yi has just joined the 2nd division, and he can serve as the deputy captain. As long as his strength improves, the captain's position is also appropriate. Chen, join the 2nd division with me. Why are you joining the medical team? Isn't that a waste of your strength? Yi said, holding Chen's arm. No, I don't think it's the 2nd team or the 4th team. Let's join another team. Or not any team, Chang said while holding Chen's hand. Going to the 2nd division has the woman Yi, and going to the 4th division has the woman Usuali. Chang feels that neither division can go, otherwise she will be jealous. Chang felt that Chen should be her own. Shouldn't Zanpakuto and the master be a couple? The others are outsiders, and what Chang has to do is expel the outsiders. It's not impossible. Yi pinched his chin and thought about it, then nodded. As long as Chen does not join the 4th team, Yi can accept it. No, I decided a long time ago that I will join the 4th division. Chen said directly. He was going to go to the 4th division to hang around, waiting for the plot to start. After the plot began, Chen had to make some plans. For example, Aizen's Bengyu, this one must be obtained, although Chen already has Bengyu, but Bengyu can be sold to the system, such a powerful item will definitely not be cheap. Zanpakudo Shallow Strikes made by Wang Yu, the second house of the God of Swords. These should also be valuable, and you can consider grabbing them. Although Chen likes the life of salted fish, he is also a little bit of salted fish, and the exchange point is his pursuit. Yi still insisted on persuading him, but he couldn't persuade Chen at all, so let's just forget about it. Anyway, the 4th division is not far from the 2nd division. The 4th division is not far from any division, because it is a medical team, and if the distance is far, what if the 4th division fails suddenly? Chen joined the 4th team and became an ordinary player. Ujawali looked at Chen and asked, "You really don't want to be the vice captain? Or you can be the captain. As long as I recommend it to Yuan Lusai, he should give me this face." "I don't want to. In my opinion, it's still easier to be a team member. You see, I'm doing nothing now, isn't it good?" Chen was lying in Ujawali's office, eating snacks leisurely. Mao Zihua is speechless. "That's why you are so relaxed. You look at other people, they are almost dead dogs." Yuan Yuanshan thought that the 4th team was easy, but the 4th team was not easy. Those stupid big men from the 11th team were basically able to send several every day. There are also wounded from other squads, and dozens of patients are brought in every day, busy round and round. The environment of the 4th division is really good. The 6th division is comparable to the 1st division. Chen looked out the window at the scenery. When it seemed boring, Chen also basically turned around in every division, but still felt that the environment of the 4th division was the best. Although the 6th and 1st teams are good, the layout is very neat, but the atmosphere of the 6th team's quarters is too serious, and the 1st team is too old-fashioned. "Chen, I'm here to find you." Yi opened the door and walked in. "Why are you looking for me? Did you get hurt again and let me treat you?" Chen turned his head and asked. Yi came to him, and he was no stranger to it. He joined the 4th division for less than half a month, and Yi came almost every day. "Vice captain of the Sci-fi Academy, are you treating the 4th division as your own home?" Ujawali's smiling face all along disappeared. Yi spent more time in the 4th division than in the 2nd division. "I'm here to treat the wound. Is your 4th division still refusing treatment?" Yi revealed his own injury. Seeing Yi's wound, Chen stood up in surprise. "Fortunately, your injury came in time. If it were a little later, I would have recovered." Ujawali came over, picked up Yaiki, and threw it out of the 4th division. Now Ujawali is also quite unhappy. Kasuga Yechong was dragged out to play by Yachinliu, and Ujawali and Chen were left alone. Ujawali really liked this kind of atmosphere, but at this time Yi came to interrupt, which made Ujawali feel very uncomfortable, so he grabbed Yi and threw it out unceremoniously. Just when Uno Hanalai was about to go back, he suddenly heard a loud noise. "What's going on with your 4th division? Come out to me." Ujawali went out and asked blankly, "Which team are you from? Who made you make noise here?" Ujawali is not in a good mood now. If this group of people can't say one or two, Ujawali won't let them go. Feeling the imposing manner of Mao Zihua, those people choked their breath and did not dare to speak loudly. "We are from the 6th team. Why did you guys from the 4th team give us laxatives, which caused most of our team members to have diarrhea?" When this person was angry, he was a little fortunate. Fortunately, he didn't drink the water, otherwise he might be squatting in the hut now. Mao Zhawali frowned upon hearing this. "When you speak, you must tell the evidence. What evidence do you have to prove that it was done by the members of my 4th division?" "The water was sent by the little girl with pink Yuhi-colored hair. I have seen her several times in the 4th division. Captain Unoka dares to say that she is not from your division." Hearing the little girl with pink Yuhi-colored hair, Uno Hanaritsu suddenly thought of Yakiryu. "Yes, that's her." Suddenly, this member of the 6th division saw Yakiryu walking in with Kasuga Yechong. Seeing the menacing appearance of these people, Bachinliu stuck out his tongue, and immediately pulled Chongli behind Unahakali. Bachanliu, have you given them laxatives? Ujawali lowered his head and asked Bachanliu. Bachanliu nodded and said, the people of their 6th division are proud of their faces all day long. I don't think they are happy, so. What's the situation? Chen came out and asked. It's her. She brought a bucket of water this morning, saying that it has special effects, and it is safe to drink it. Who would have thought that she would put laxatives in it? Who said laxatives? Ordinary laxatives can make you diarrhea. This is really a special medicine. The reason why you have diarrhea is to detoxify. Seeing how you make a fuss, you have never seen the world. Chen Pai waved his hand and said. The members of the 6th division were so angry that they died. Don't offend our 4th division, or you will be injured one day. If you use the wrong medicine, don't blame us. After all, the 4th division is very busy, and it is very possible to make a mistake. Chen's words were a blatant threat, which made the 6th division's popularity look like Yuhi. Ujawali didn't make a sound, just tapped Bachanliu's little head lightly with his hand. Bachanliu stuck out his tongue, feeling a little embarrassed. Chapter 648 Graduation Exam. Chen is the chief examiner. The personnel of the 6th division left angrily. The 4th division was a medical team, who could guarantee that they would not be injured, so no one wanted to offend the 4th division. It's just that this time it's too irritating. I believe their 6th division has now become a laughingstock. After the people from the 6th division left, Bachanliu looked at Chen and couldn't help sticking out his tongue. Don't blame me, it's because they have a cold face all day, as if someone owes them money, that's why I did this. Bachanliu lowered his head, as if he had done something wrong. It's fine, you are my daughter, even if you give Yamamoto-sensei laxatives, it's fine. Chen picked up Bachanliu and said. Bachanliu heard the words, and a smile appeared on his face. Dad is the best. Bachanliu Zaichen gave a sharp kiss on the face. Pampering her like this will spoil her, and she will be lawless at that time. Ujawali said. It's okay, so what if you're really spoiled? Chen smiled and kissed Bachanliu's face. Hey, make me drool. Bachanliu wiped his face, showing a look of disgust. You actually dislike me. You made me drool just now. Chen pinched Bachanliu's little face. It hurts. Dad let me go. Woohoo tilde. Dad bullied me. Bachanliu shouted loudly. Okay, I didn't exert any strength. Let's go in. Chen hugged Bachanliu and walked into the team building with Chang's hand. The Siphon Yuan Yi, who was thrown out, ran back and gave Ujawali an angry look. What? Could it be that Vice Captain Yi wants to be thrown out again? Ujawali asked with a smile. Humph. Yi snorted softly, but she was not the opponent of Maoji Walai, otherwise she would have to compete with Maoji Walai, and it would be too embarrassing to be thrown out. I'm here to talk to you about the 6th division. I heard what I said before. That old guy, Silver Suzu Kuchiki, will definitely not let it go. Would you like me to help settle it? What are the conditions? Uno Hanalai asked. Yi Yiwei was so kind to help settle that stubborn guy, Silver Suzu Kuchiki. It's very simple. When I come to the 4th division in the future, don't stop me. Yi stated his conditions. Then forget it. I believe Kuchiki Silver Suzu will give me a face. Uno Hanaritsu refused without hesitation, and threw Yaiki out again. Deputy Captain Yi, the 2nd division has a lot of affairs. You should go back and deal with the affairs of the 2nd division. Damn, this old woman is really hateful. Yi stomped his feet. What did you say, Deputy Captain Yi? I just didn't hear it clearly. Uji Walai suddenly came out with a smile on his face, and the smile on his face made Yi feel the danger. No, I didn't say anything. Yi hurriedly shook his head, although she didn't know how strong Ujawali was. But Maojawali's reputation was something she had heard of, an unprecedented villain in the corpse soul world. If you can be called an unprecedented villain, you can know the strength of Uno no Hanalai. This time, Kuchiki Silverling did not say anything, and this was also because of the reason of Uno Hanaritsu, which was regarded as a face for Uzuru Hanaritsu. But for Bachenliu's impression, he is not very good, and even has a very poor sense of Chen. Kuchiki Silverling is the current head of the 4 aristocratic Kuchiki clan, who cares most about face. Now Kuchiki Silver Suzu is the captain of the 6th division, and Yakiryu has made the 6th division lose all face. Being teased by a little girl, I don't know how many people are talking about the 6th division behind their backs. Time flies by. In the world of death, time seems to be a little worthless, and more than 5 years have passed in a blink of an eye. And Aizen and the others were also graduating from the school, and Chen became the chief examiner of their graduation assessment. I really didn't expect it. We used to be classmates in the same class. I didn't expect that in these few years, I would become your examiner, tisk tisk. Chen sat on the podium and looked at them with a smile. You're just a member of the 4th division now, what's there to be proud of? Kuchiki Kangchun snorted coldly. Now Kuchiki's family has a lot of opinions on Chen. Under the influence of the family, Kuchiki Kangchun certainly doesn't have a good impression of Chen. You can't say that, at least my current status is higher than yours. Chen said with his legs crossed. There are 2 choices for assessment now. One is to play against me, and you can graduate with my approval. The second is to go to the trial site to hunt and kill Shu. Chen announced to them. The people who are going to fight me now, stand on the left, those who choose to hunt the virtual, stand on my right, and if you want to do something weird, stand in the middle. Kuchiki Kangchun walked to the left, but he wanted to take the opportunity to teach Chen a lesson. Can you stand here? I heard that you are not in good health, and your physique is too weak. Let's kill a few rogues. Chen kindly reminded him. Kuchiki Kangchun closed his eyes and ignored Chen's words at all. Hey, it's obviously my kindness, but you don't accept my kindness. There's nothing you can do about it. Chen shook his head helplessly. However, most of the people in the class chose Hecken to challenge, a few chose to hunt Shu, and there was a strange flower standing in the middle. The strange flower standing in the middle is of course Kazuki Urahara. Very good, Urahara Kazuki classmate is very good, he is very smart, he chose to stand in the middle. Chen looked at Urahara Kazuki very satisfied. Student Urahara has to participate in both assessments. If anyone fails, come and repeat. Urahara Kazuki's mouth widened. He regretted it a little. Why did he want to do something special? Now it's hard. I regret it now, can I choose again? Urahara Kazuki asked bitterly. Okay, but you have to pay something. Chen gestured towards Urahara Kazuki with a money gesture. Urahara Kazuki shut up immediately. He is a poor man, he bought materials for research with any money. Where did the money come from? You 5.6 are led by other people to the world to hunt Shu. You people, come with me. Chen pointed to the person on the left and walked out of the classroom. What about me? Urahara Kazuki asked. Which way you choose to be assessed first, follow whichever way you go first. Chen said with a glance at Urahara Kazuki. Then I'd better follow you first. I think it's better for you here. Urahara Kazuki said with a smile. However, what Urahara Kazuki thought in his heart is unknown, but he did not dare to relax at all to Chen. Really, so you think so? It seems that I have to take good care of you. Chen had a weird smile on his face. This smile made Urahara Kazuki feel chills. Is this the end? Urahara Kazuki wanted to cry very much at this time. He still had some guesses about Chen's strength. After all, he was a person who completed Shikai soon after entering school. Chapter 649 One Punch Kill. When I came to the training ground, there were quite a few people standing here, all of whom were captains of the 13th team of Gote. The graduation of the elite genius class is of course eye-catching. The captain of the 13th team of Goting wants to pull the good seedlings into their own team. Captain, why do you want Hyuga Chen to be the chief examiner? Kuchiki Silverbell asked. It was decided by old man Yamamoto that Chen became the chief examiner, but Chen did not refuse when he heard that he became the chief examiner. Among the students in this class, there are Aizen and Urahara Kazuki, and it is not bad to be the chief examiner. What? Captain Kuchiki, do you have any comments? Ujawali asked indifferently. Humph. An ordinary team member, coming to preside over the assessment, doesn't seem qualified, said Kuchiki Silverling with a cold snort. Captain Kuchiki, are you questioning the old man? The old man Yamamoto felt a little dissatisfied. Chen was appointed as the chief examiner. Now Kuchiki Silver Suzu's dissatisfaction seems to be dissatisfied with his order, and the old man Yamamoto feels uncomfortable. No, I didn't question the meaning of Captain Yamamoto. Kuchiki Silverling said, there is no need to offend Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni. Shikai has been able to prove his strength. I want him to be the vice captain of the 3rd Division. Yamamoto Motoyanagi said. This is Yamamoto Motoyanagi's own intention, and it is impossible for Hugichin to be weak if he can make Unokalai care about. In addition, he was able to perform Shikai 5 years ago, and old man Yamamoto has already paid attention to Chen. It would be a pity for such a person to stay in the 4th Division as a member. The vice captain of the 3rd Division died in battle, and there is still no one to choose, so Shigekuni Yamamoto wants to let Chen serve. Kuchiki Silverling frowned, but he didn't say anything against it. He knew very well the character of Yamamoto Motoyanagi, and as long as it was a decision, no one was allowed to object. Therefore, although Kuchiki Silverling was dissatisfied in his heart, he did not want to touch this bad head. Now look at the strength of this class of students. The old man Yamamoto's eyes shone brightly. These people represent the future of the Soul Society, so how could old man Yamamoto not pay attention? Which one of you will come first now? Are you coming one by one, or together? Chen asked while standing on the ring, looking at them. Chen's words made the people below angry. They are all geniuses, how could they come together? This kid seems to be outraged. Jingle Chunchui said with a smile. Who are you talking about? Believe it or not, I cut you into 8 pieces with one knife. Chen said, glancing at Jingle Chunchui. Jingle Chunchui touched his nose and was speechless, so he could only think in his heart that he was just a boy, don't know him in the same way. Although Chen had already experienced the 2 worlds of Hokage and Pirate, if he added his previous life, he would be 100 years old. However, compared with Jingle Chunchui, he can really only be called a kid. Don't look at Jingle Chunchui, but he is a veteran. Of course, sometimes age doesn't mean anything, strength is everything. I'll come first. Kuchiki Kangchun stepped onto the ring in one step. You have to think about it, it's too late to go down now. In case I take a heavy shot and accidentally kill you, your father won't be able to stand up for you. Chen reminded Kuchiki Kangchun. But if Chen really kills Kuchiki Kangchun, will there be no Kuchiki Byakuya in the future? Kuchiki Silverling's face turned black, but he was really worried about Kuchiki Kangjun. Kuchiki Silverling actually knew very well about Kuchiki Kangjun's situation. Although he is reluctant to admit it, Kuchiki Silverling knows that Kuchiki Kangchun is not Hyuga Chen's opponent. So many people are watching, I don't believe it, you dare to kill. Kuchiki Silver Suzu comforted herself secretly. Although Kuchiki Silverling and Chen did have a festival, but this festival is not endless, the other party should not kill. Looked at Chen, pulled out Zanpakuto from his waist, and said indifferently, put the knife. To deal with you, you don't need to draw a knife. Chen instantly appeared beside Kuchiki Kangchun, and then punched him out. Kuchiki Kangchun spat out a mouthful of blood, then passed out in a coma, and was instantly killed by Chen's punch. Hugichin! Kuchiki Silverbell roared involuntarily, and then hurriedly went to check Kuchiki Kangjun's situation. When he realized that Kuchiki Kangchun was only injured and his life was not in danger, he breathed a sigh of relief, as long as his life was not in danger. However, Kuchiki Silverling looked at Chen's eyes, very unkind, and could not wait to rush to the ring to teach him a lesson. Do you want to teach me a lesson? I like to see your expression of wanting to hit me but not being able to do it. Chen had a very hateful expression on his face. Actually, you should thank me. If it wasn't for my mercy, your son would be dead by now. Humph! Do you need this old man to teach you your tricks? Said Kuchiki Silverling angrily. It's better to be excused. I don't want to be accused of bullying the elderly. Chen shook his head and said. Enough, continue the assessment. The old man Yamamoto stood up and interrupted in dissatisfaction. His time is very precious. He came here to see them finish the assessment quickly, not to watch them talk shit. The people who came on next were all dealt with by Chen Yi's fist, and the old man Yamamoto shook his head. This year's students don't seem to be very good. It's just the two of us left. Aizen, you go first. I'm last. Urahara gave Aizen a boost. I hope Chenkin 897 will show mercy for the sake of our former neighbors. Aizen said as she walked towards the ring. Aizen, don't be humble. I know how strong you are. I have seen it with my own eyes. You slashed Achukas with one knife. I am definitely not your opponent. You passed. Aizen's expression froze. When will I cut off an Achukas? I do not know how. However, at this time, Aizen really had the strength to slash Achukas with one blow. Is this too much water? Let him pass without hitting. Chen, isn't he a good friend of yours? Yi shouted loudly. Yi, I think you need to clean up. When I look back, I won't beat your ass into 8 pieces to count you as solid. Yi shrank his head and shut his mouth obediently. There is no other way, it seems that we can only do it. Chen also punched Aizen, and still greeted him with his head. Feeling the strong wind tearing through the air, Aizen immediately used Shunpo to distance herself, and looked at Chen vigilantly. Don't go too far. If that punch hits me, I'm afraid it will kill me. A bitter smile appeared on the corner of Lan Ran's mouth. Isn't this still not killed? Chen smiled, and then continued to attack. Under Chen's attack, Aizen looked persistent, but the old man Yamamoto felt that Aizen was very good. Compared with the people who were killed by a single move before, Aizen was already very eye-catching. Chapter 650. After hitting the Kuchiki silver bell, he actually got a promotion. When attacking Aizen, Chen could clearly perceive that Aizen was hiding. It seems that Aizen doesn't want to reveal his strength. Chen lightly punched Aizen and flew out, and then said, Aizen, you passed. Lan Ran's arms trembled slightly, a smile appeared on her face, and she nodded lightly, but deep in her eyes, she looked at Chen with endless vigilance. His arm trembled. It really wasn't what he pretended, but it was really painful. Aizen estimated that his bones should be cracked. And Aizen didn't know how much effort Chen had used. According to Aizen's estimation, even if he used all the means now, he might not be Chen's opponent. In fact, if Aizen hadn't died, Bengyu might not have been created, and Chen would have killed him with one punch. But Aizen can't die, and Chen is still waiting for him to make the perfect collapsible jade. There is also Urahara Kazuki. Without the collapsed jade made by Urahara Kazuki, Aizen could not have made the real collapsed jade. I would like to thank Chen for your mercy. Lan Ran smiled, then walked off the ring and sat aside. Chen, you have to be merciful. Urahara Kazuki said bravely. Don't worry, as long as your money is in place, I'll definitely be merciful, otherwise I'll have to let you lie down. Urahara Kazuki's face was aching. He took out a purse from his pocket, threw it to Chen, and said distressedly, this is all my belongings. Don't worry, I only need money to do things. If you pass the test, you don't need to take the test. Chen looked at the money in his hand. Although it was a little small, it was enough for him to drink a few drinks. Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju's face was ashen, and it was really daring to do this openly in front of him. Hyuga-chan, it seems unfair for you to do this. Kuchiki Silverling finally found the opportunity and said directly, as an examiner, openly accepting bribes is not a small crime. Yi stared at Chen, and dared to openly take bribes in front of the captain, and now Yi can't help him speak. Who says this is a bribe? It's Kazuki Urahara for seeing me working hard and paying me for my hard work, isn't it, Urahara-san? That's right. Urahara Kazuki nodded knowingly about current affairs. If he didn't, he and Chen might both go to prison. Then what happened? Urahara Kazuki asked in a low voice. Don't worry about this, I'll release the water. If you don't pass it, it's just a small problem. Chen also lowered his voice. However, with the strength of the captain of Gotei's 13th Squadron, this kind of lowered voice could be heard, and it was very clear. Captain Yamamoto. Kuchiki Silver Suzu looked at Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni. Old guy, why do you always get along with me? Do you think I'm easy to bully? Chen was very upset. Over the years, Deadwood Silverling has caused himself a lot of trouble, but it was all blocked by Uzuru Hanalai. Hyuga-chan, that's what you said to me, I'm the captain, you're just a small team member. Kuchiki Silverbell's face was gloomy. Don't give me the captain and not the captain. In my eyes, I only recognize the fist. Chen's figure disappeared from the ring in an instant, and then appeared behind Kuchiki Silverling. A fist hit the back of Kuchiki Silverling's head. Kuchiki Silverling was blasted out, and his body rubbed frantically on the ground. Everyone's eyes widened. They didn't expect Chen to actually make a move, and as soon as he made a move, the veteran of the 6th Division captain, Sero Lingting, was knocked away. My temper is a bit grumpy, and I may break out one day, so you'd better not mess with me, or he will end. Chen said lightly. You Tilda. What are you? You don't like face very much. Now you have a lot of face. Chen walked over step by step. Hyuga-chan, what are you doing? The old man Yamamoto was already angry, and he started in front of him. He really didn't care about him at all. Geniuses are unruly, but this Hyuga-chen is too unruly. Kuchiki Silverling stood up, pulled out Zanpakuto and slashed towards Chen. If he didn't fight back, Kuchiki's face would be lost. Old man Shan, let them go down. Jingle Chunshui asked Yamamoto Yuanliu Zazanguo. HMPH. Young man, I just want to teach you a lesson. Yamamoto Yuanliu Saijokuni snorted coldly, and then said. Chen and Kuchiki Silverling really started. Yamamoto is still more optimistic about Kuchiki Silverling. Don't look at Kuchiki Silverling, but his strength is terrifying. Among the 13 captains, the strength of Kuchiki Silver Suzu is also in the forefront. Apart from him is the chief captain and Uno Hanalai, the strongest should be Kuchiki Silver Suzu. As for Hyuga-chan's strength, although old man Yamamoto is more optimistic, in the eyes of old man Yamamoto, he still can't compare with Kuchiki Silver Suzu. Looking at this scene, Aizen narrowed his eyes slightly. Chen stretched out his hand to hold the Zanpakuto of the Deadwood Silver Bell, and his Zanpakuto appeared one after another crack under the terrifying power of Chen. What? Kuchiki Silver Suzu was startled. For the sake of your being an old man, let you lie down for a few months. Chen clenched his other hand, and punched Kuchiki Silverbell in the chest. Kuchiki Silver Suzu's body flew out of the Shinoshu Institute, and Zanpakuto turned into pieces and scattered on the ground. Damn it, his strength is so strong. Is the old man Zanpakuto broken? Jingle Chunshui was surprised and didn't know what to say. Before Chen was able to knock the Deadwood Silverling into the air with one punch, it was basically the reason he thought he made a surprise attack. Hyuga-chen, you are going too far. The old man Yamamoto's Reiatsu was released, making the people around him tremble. Cut tilde. When we fought just now, I didn't see you making a sound, so don't intervene now. Humph. The old man Yamamoto retracted his Reiatsu and said, you will be the vice captain of the 3rd Division in the future. Deputy captain of the 3rd Division, have you asked my opinion? I am not interested in going to the 3rd Division. Then you will become the deputy captain of the 4th Division, and this matter is settled. After the old man Yamamoto finished speaking, he turned and left. With the strength that Yichen is showing now, no matter what, old man Yamamoto can't let him be an ordinary player. If it weren't for the fact that there was no vacancy for the captain's post, perhaps old man Yamamoto would have let Chen be the captain. This kind of combat power does not contribute to the soul of the dead, has it been a member of the team. Although old man Yamamoto was dissatisfied with Hyuga-chen's character, he was very satisfied with his strength. Next time, he will definitely let him go in the next large-scale conquest of the virtual circle. The old man Yamamoto left, and the people of the 6th Division looked confused. Our captain was beaten. Wouldn't the captain help us to get ahead? And the guy who beat their captain was actually promoted. What's the situation? In fact, if Chen didn't have the strength to defeat the Deadwood Silverling, the old man Yamamoto would never let go of the reckless Chen, but the old man Yamamoto attached great importance to discipline. However, Chen's strength made old man Yamamoto value, not to mention that it was normal for young people to be a little reckless, even when he was young. I believe that as long as he goes through the training and his guidance, Hyuga Chen will definitely become a sharp blade in the Soul Society. That's right, now old man Yamamoto has decided that he will personally guide Chen when he is free. If Chen finds out, he must be disgusted, and he still needs someone else's guidance. Chapter 651 Night 1 vs. Dome. The students' graduation examination was interrupted, and other people were replaced to retake the graduation examination. Basically, all of them passed. After all, these are all geniuses, and perhaps their attainment in the ghost way is not very good, mainly because they can't get in touch with the advanced ghost way, and the other white fights and shunbu are very good. So it is a matter of course for them to graduate. At this time, it was time to rob people. The captains of the 13th Division went into battle together, pulling outstanding students into their divisions and increasing the strength of their divisions. Aizen entered the 5th team and became an ordinary member of the 5th team, while Urahara Kazuki entered the 2nd team, Kuchiki Kingjun entered the 6th team, and the others did not pay attention. Although he became the vice captain, Chen was still very lazy, and all the affairs of the 4th Division were taken care of by Ujiwali, while Chen was sleeping in the office. "Dad, Sister Yayi is here again," Bachenliu said while pushing Chen's body. Tisk tilde. Kasuga Yi Chong looked at Yaiki who came in and smashed his mouth. "Hey, what do you mean? Are you upset with me?" Yi looked at Chong uncomfortably. "You do have self-knowledge." "Yes, I'm just seeing you 943 upset." Chong admitted it generously. "If we have the ability, let's go out and have a duel, and I'll let you know how good I am at night." "Okay." Haruhi Yi Chong's eyes lit up. Someone begged to come to the door to find abuse, she would definitely do it. If it was an ordinary person, Kasuga Yi Chong might not care at all, but the other party was Yi. Chong had long wanted to find a chance to teach her a lesson. "Yeah, are you going to duel?" Bachenliu stared at them with wide eyes, with a look of anticipation in his eyes. "Let's talk about it first. We don't use Zanpakuto, we don't use ghosts, let's try Shunpo and Shirataki." Yi said immediately. Chong's Ghost Road Yi saw it when he was in the virtual circle. One move can kill a large area of virtual reality in seconds, and Zanpakuto is stronger, and if he is hit, he will die. Looking at Chong's small arms and calves, her complexion was pale, and she only had a chance to win if she tried Shunbu and Baida. Although this is a bit shameless, it doesn't matter, she has a very thick skin anyway. "Deputy Captain Yi, it's not good for you to be like this. You should just let Chong not do it." Ujiwali pushed open the door and walked in and said lightly. "Actually, I think, but doing that is too shameless. I'm not that kind of person." Yi. Chen glanced at Yi with contempt, originally thought that he was already thick-skinned, but when a thicker-skinned person arrived, Chengdu said that he was willing to be inferior. "Okay, I'm fine," Chong responded directly. Although it seems unfair to her, Chong is not a pure mage, and it is not that she knows nothing but ghosts. Today, Chong will let Yi see what a melee mage is. "Chong, this is not good. It's too unfair to you. If Deputy Captain Yi is interested, I can come and ask you for some tips." Ujiwali looked at Yi with a smile, causing cold sweat to appear on Yi's back, as if she was being stared at by something terrifying. It is said that Ujiwali is very powerful, and now it seems that it is true. If it really fights, Yi is absolutely not sure of winning. "I'm just a little vice captain, but I'm not qualified to learn from the captain." Yi quickly refused, she didn't want to seek abuse. That Chong is just a team member. You are a vice captain, so you won't do anything to bully the team members, right? Okay, I've already promised to fight her. Chong quickly interrupted. Although Ujawali is for her own good, but she does not understand her own strength, she must seize such a good opportunity to teach Yaiki a lesson. Okay. Mao Zihua nodded vigorously. Since Chong was so determined, she didn't say anything. Yi, you are not Chong's opponent. I thought I would treat you personally. I wish you good luck. Chen patted Yi on the shoulder. Now Chen seems to have seen the scene of Yi being beaten. Do you underestimate me? Humph. I won't lose. Yi snorted, looking at Chong full of fighting spirit. Yi didn't believe that the white fights and shunpo that he was best at couldn't compare to Chong. Perhaps in other respects, Yi has no confidence, but in terms of white fights and shunpo, Yi is an expert. The two came to the training ground of the fourth team. Although the fourth team is a medical team, this does not mean that the fourth team will not conduct training. Chong, I won't show mercy, you better be careful. Yi reminded. It's you who should be careful. Chong held the black rabbit doll in one hand and looked at Yi lightly. Yi used shunpo, disappeared in place in an instant, appeared behind Chong in an instant, clenched his hands into fists, and struck down towards Chong. But after hitting it, it didn't feel like hitting the object, but passed through Chong's body. No, it's an afterimage. Yi's heart tightened, a sense of crisis enveloped her, and she immediately used the empty cicada, leaving a coat on the spot. Her body disappeared, like a golden cicada taking off its shell. Chong's small fist hit the leader Yuri left behind by Yaiki, and Yuri instantly shattered into pieces of cloth. It's so dangerous. I really can't underestimate you. Yi calmed down his pounding heartbeat. Chong's small fist looks weak and his body looks slender, but it contains terrifying power. You talk too much. Chong used the ring to turn, and his body disappeared. Yi became vigilant, and the moment Chong appeared to her side, he punched his fist towards Chong. Under the collision of the fists, Yi was hit and flew out. His arm was a little sore, and he felt that he couldn't use his strength, and Chong stood still. Where did you get this monster-like power? Yi asked bitterly. I really can't figure out why Chong's incomparably slender body can hide such a huge power. Flicking her arm, Yi stared at Chong with serious eyes. Strength is not her strong point, and strong strength does not mean she can win. Skill is very important. Tatsuya, Yakiryu and Unahakali watched the battle. Maojawali was very surprised when she saw Chong's power. Wujawali estimated that even she might not be Chong's opponent in terms of strength. Chong is really amazing. If my strength is full, I guess I may not be the opponent of Chong. Wujawali shook his head with a wry smile. Chen feels very normal. Chong is the materialization of his Zanpakudo, created with the power of his soul, and his strength is of course very strong. However, even if Chong is full of strength, he may not be able to win against Maojawali. Under Yi's attack, Chong freely avoided Yi's attack, and his small fist returned to Yi. Because Chong's strength is too great, Yi didn't dare to confront Chong hard at all, and could only constantly avoid Chong's attacks. Fortunately, Yi was vigilant and more flexible, otherwise he would be defeated now. Chapter 652 Ask for Advice at Night. Bang! To defend Chong's fist, and his body was knocked dozens of meters away, hitting the ground heavily, creating a deep pothole on the ground. Yi struggled to get up, his hands trembled, and he couldn't exert force for the time being. According to Yi's estimation, it was very likely that the bone was broken. Do you want to continue? Chong asked lightly. Yi bit Kiba and said, Go on, of course, the fight won't end until you knock me down. Oh, then I can only beat you to the ground. Chong nodded, then quickly rushed towards Yi. It's so fast. Yi's pupils dilated, staring at Chong, trying to capture her movements. But the speed was too fast, leaving afterimages in the air. Yi didn't know the specific attack trajectory of Chong at all. Sister Yi seems to be losing. Ba Qinliu said while biting his fingers. Sure enough, Chang is more powerful. Indeed, Yi was going to lose now, because he failed to capture the trajectory of the dome, resulting in a punch in the abdomen. Yi fell to the ground after being hit. The severe pain in her abdomen made her lose all her strength. Now you've lost, Chang said, looking at Yi. Chen came to Yi, pulled her up, and used medical ninjutsu to help Yi recover. Who tilde? I didn't expect that. I'm not even your opponent in a white fight. What a shame. Yi felt a little ashamed. After practicing for so many years of shiatsu and shunpo, she is still not the opponent of Chang, a little girl who eats snacks all day. It was really a blow. Do you feel too weak at night? Yi, don't be discouraged. Dad is very good. You can ask Dad to teach you to fight for nothing. Bachanliu said, pulling Yi's clothes. Yi's eyes lit up, and then he looked at Shang Chen suddenly. Indeed, Chen could be taught to teach her. How is it? Chen, how about you teach me? Yi asked, pulling Chen's arm, his body still rubbing against Chen's arm. No, Chang immediately pulled Yi away, and Tikan rejected Yi. Why not? Are you afraid that after I become stronger, you will lose to me? Yi looked at Chang angrily. HMPH tilde. You can't be my opponent in this life. Anyway, you can't. I don't agree. Chang said with a light snort. If Chen wanted to teach her, wouldn't he have to be with Yi every day? Chang would never agree. In the end, under Yi's entanglement, and Yi bribed Baqianlu to help her speak, Chen agreed to teach Yi. You take this first to practice. If there is anything you don't understand, just ask me. Chen took out the 6 naval styles. The Navy 6th form is really comprehensive. Except for the moon step, which is of no use to Yi, the others are really useful to Yi. Because the god of death can pave the way with spiritual suns and stand in the void, the moon step is just a decoration for the god of death, and it has no effect at all. Yi looked at the 6th form of the Navy, his eyes suddenly lit up. Shaving is a way of moving that is not weaker than Shunbu, and the speed of the instant burst is even higher than Shunbu. Compared with Shunbu, shaving is more about explosive power, which is rare. Finger spears and languid feet are both methods of attack, which are not enough for Yi's attack methods. Lanjiao, in particular, made up for her long-range attack, but Yi was an assassin. I wondered if she would turn into a warrior after learning the 6th naval style. Chen, I also want to learn. Chang grabbed the hem of Chen's clothes with his hand, and stared at Chen tightly. Chang is really afraid that Yi will become stronger than her after Chen's teaching, but she will always be on Yi's head. Okay. Chen directly passed all the memories about the 6th naval style to Chang. At this time, after the Chang accepted the memory of the 6th naval style, it was ready to be used. Looking at the Chang that uses the Navy's 6th form, Yi's eyes widened. She hadn't read it yet, and the Chang actually used the Navy's 6th form. In fact, the 6th naval form is not particularly difficult. Perhaps it is impossible for people with poor physical fitness to learn it, and it is necessary to train the body step by step. However, for those who are physically strong, as long as they understand the skills, they can use them quickly. Chang Dekan's skills, of course, can be used very quickly. Wow tilde, you are so biased. Why are you all teaching? But I have to study slowly by myself, and she is like being empowered by Daigo. Yi said dissatisfiedly. No way, my relationship with Chang is of course more intimate than yours. Chen Tan spread his hands and said. Damn it. Yi bit Kiba, and then worked hard to learn the 6 naval styles. If she didn't work hard, she would be pulled bigger and bigger. Yi was still thinking about defeating Chang one day. She won't give up. Yi, you are the vice captain of the 2nd division, and you stay with the 4th division all day. Is it really okay? Chen said, looking at Yi, who is not leaving here. It's alright, anyway, the captain is in charge of the 2nd division's affairs. I, the deputy captain, have nothing to do, just like you, aren't you also idle? Yi said with a wave of his hand. Yes, I'm actually quite laid back. Chen spread his hands, although he was the vice captain, he really had nothing to do. Because there are things that Unahakali has done, although the subordinates of the 4th Division are busy, the captain is very leisurely. It's impossible to send an injured person here, so the captain should take care of him. Unless he has an injury that cannot be solved below, the captain will go out. Yi Yi, come and play with me. Bachanliu shouted to Yi Yi. I'm sorry Bachanliu, I have to practice hard now, and I'll play with you when I have time. Now you go to your father first. Yi Yi patted Bachanliu's head. Oh, Bachanliu felt a little lost. Dad. Bachanliu Mengmeng looked at Chen and said, play with me. Bachanliu, I don't like to play Jia. Chen said to Bachanliu, if people knew that he played Jia, wouldn't they be laughed at to death? Then I'll go out with Chong to play. Bachanliu pulled Chong away in a huff. Chong originally didn't want to go out, but he was worried that Bachanliu would encounter any danger after going out by himself, so he went out with him. Bachanliu, don't make trouble when you go out. Chen shouted to Bachanliu. HMPH. I don't want you to worry about it, I'm just going out to cause trouble. Bachanliu left with a puffed face. Do you really want to cause trouble? Chen looked at Bachanliu and Chong who had left. If you cause trouble, just cause trouble. It's fine as long as you don't get bullied. Chen had beaten the captain of the 6th Division, Silver Suzu Kuchiki, and now she still can't get out of bed, so no one should dare to bully them. What's more, with Chong, who can bully them? Unless Old Man Yamamoto bullied them, but Old Man Yamamoto was busy all day, how could he bully 2 little girls? So now the 2 of them, the little bully, can walk sideways. Chapter 653 Call a meeting. In the evening, Bachanliu pulled Chong back with a look of excitement, holding some delicious snacks in his hand. Did you buy this? Chen picked up an octopus ball and tasted it. The taste was okay, but Chen still liked the octopus balls made by Makoto. No, they gave it to me. Bachanliu was very happy. Today, I went to each team for a turn, and then I harvested all kinds of snacks and delicacies. The people in those teams are still very good. In fact, Bachanliu didn't know, they were afraid of what kind of moth Bachanliu would make, so they took out some delicious food and sent her away. Time passed in a hurry, and decades passed in a blink of an eye, and Chen basically stayed in the 4th Division. Instruct Yi Yi, who came to the 4th Division all day, to chat with Uno Hanalai, accompany Kasuga Yechong to go out for a walk, or take Yachanliu to the virtual circle to meet Halibal and Nailu. Of course, Chen didn't forget to go to the system space to accompany the girls of Hokage and Pirate World, and he lived a happy life. Didn't you get promoted to the captain of the 2nd Division? Why don't you seem to be running this way? Chong couldn't help but look at Yi Yi in disgust. This time Yi Yi didn't come by herself. She was followed by a small tail, Bishaoling. Bishaoling was also called Broken Bee. Broken Bee inherited the title of her grandmother in the future. Her real name was Bishaoling. Born in a low-level noble family of Bee, the Bee family has been following and protecting the Sifanyuan family for generations, so the Broken Bee is by Yi Yi's side. Why did you bring another one? Who is she? Chen asked curiously, looking at Broken Bee. She's my sister. Yi Yi put his arm around Broken Bee's neck and said with a smile. Master Yi, don't say that, I'm your guard. Broken Bee said quickly. In my eyes, you are my sister. Yi Yi said with a smile. Your short hair with all the bangs is so cute. Chen patted the head of the bee, remembering that when Hinata was a child, he also had this hairstyle. Broken Bee opened Chen's hand and looked at Chen's eyes with a little bit of precaution. Yo Tilda, you're still very wary of me. Chen dragged Shuibei over and kneaded her baby's fat little face with her hands. Now the Broken Bee is still small, and it looks very cute as Bachanliu. Tilda, you let me go quickly. Broken Bee struggled angrily. Chen, it's not right to bully a little girl. Ujawali said. Dad, I heard that the people who bully the little girl are all scum. Dad, are you also a scum? Bachanliu asked, pulling on Yanshin's clothes. Decades have passed, and Bachanliu is still so petite, looking like a child, and has not changed at all. However, what Bachanliu said made Chen's face stiff. He wanted to grab Bachanliu and teach him a lesson, but Bachanliu was not slow and immediately climbed onto Ujawali's body. You wait, Bachanliu, today I'm going to kick your ass into bloom. Chen squeezed his fist and said. Sister Ujawa, hurry up and save me. Bachanliu hurriedly hugged Ujawali's shoulder in fright, not daring to let go. Okay Chen, why do you want to get to know Bachanliu like a child, not to mention she didn't say anything wrong? Ujawali suddenly covered her mouth and smiled. Yes, you are scum. Chang put down the biscuit in his hand and said seriously. The relationship with the two women Maujawali and Yei is unclear. What is it that is not scum? Captain Yusohana, Captain Yamamoto will call all captains and vice captains for a meeting. Just when Chen was about to teach Maujawali, Bachanliu, and Chang a lesson together, the people who came to deliver the message interrupted everything. Since the captain of Saifengyuan is also here, remember to go together. After the messenger finished speaking, he left immediately. Old man Yamamoto convened a meeting. What kind of meeting? Chen was a little puzzled. Gather all the captains and vice captains. It seems that something big has happened, let's go and see. Said Hana Lai Uno. It has been a long time since old man Yamamoto convened all the people for a meeting. This time is definitely not a trivial matter. Chen and the others came to the first team. Kasuga Yechong, Bachanliu and Sufeng couldn't enter the conference room, so they could only wait here. Chen, Maujawali and Yei stepped into the conference room, and the other captains hadn't arrived yet. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni glanced at Chen and the others who came in, then continued to close his eyes and wait for the arrival of the others. Soon everyone else arrived, and after Kuchiki Silver Ling came in, he snorted coldly at Chen. You're not convinced, aren't you? Believe it or not, I ripped apart your old bones. Chen said lightly. Hyuga-chan, don't be rude to my father. Kuchiki Kangchun said angrily. What is rude? Although this old man is not young, his strength is not as good as mine. As the saying goes, there is no precedence in learning, and the master is the teacher. He respects me as a senior, right? Is it rude for a senior to teach a junior? Kuchiki Silver wanted to vomit blood furiously, but he actually wanted to be his senior. Even Yamamoto Motoryu Saijiguni, he didn't have the qualifications, a hairy boy wanted to be his senior. I think that's right, when the weak face the strong, they should respect it. Uno Hanalai said with a smile. Okay, I'm here to discuss things with you. The old man Yamamoto slapped the table and said. The old man Yamamoto spoke, and the others put away their expressions of watching the show and looked at the old man Yamamoto. Old man Chan, if you have anything, just tell me. I still have a lot of things to do. Jingle Chunchui said. The old man Yamamoto glared at Jingle Chunchui dissatisfied, but he was very dissatisfied with the title of Jingle Chunchui. Look at Shiro Yukitaki, who is also his own disciple. Shiro Yukitaki calls him Master Yuan Lusai. Although he was quite satisfied with Jingle Chunchui's strength, his rambunctious temper made old man Yamamoto a little unhappy. If there is no major matter, I will not call you here for a meeting. This time it is to discuss the issue of the virtual circle. The old man Yamamoto said lightly. The expedition force was wiped out a few days ago. According to the news, it is suspected that the king of the virtual circle, Balagang, sent his subordinates. 2.8 to do it. Hearing the old man Yamamoto's words, everyone's faces became serious, and only Chen was still indifferent. Teacher, could it be that the virtual circle is doing something? Shiro Yukitaki asked. According to the observations of our 12th division, the great voids in the world have also increased. Kiryu Hazun said. At this time, Hazun Kiryu was still the captain of the 12th division, and had not yet been invited to join the 0 division of the Royal Special Agent. At this time, Hazun Kiryu is still a good-looking royal sister, not a fat girl after joining the 0 team in the future. Of course, she became a fat girl in the future because she deliberately accumulated fat, because when making dishes with soul essence, she must accumulate a considerable amount of calories in order to cope with the consumption of spiritual pressure. So after cooking, she will lose weight. Of course, the dishes she makes are not ordinary dishes. Chapter 654. Believe it or not, let you die in a virtual circle. The virtual circle is not peaceful now. Jingle Chunchui sighed. Chen said that he was very calm. In fact, he knew a little about the virtual circle, but Chen had two subordinates, Halibal and Nilu. Therefore, Chen still has a certain understanding of the virtual circle. Beilagang's ambitions are not small, and now he is gathering Daksu in the virtual circle, and he is planning to attack the corpse soul world. But this guy is really ignorant. Although he is Vastord, his strength is above the captain, but it also depends on which captain. If the old man Yamamoto was Bankai, he would be able to hack Balagang to death with one knife, and he would definitely die without leaving any residue. The virtual circle of the virtual circle is too arrogant, it's time to clear it up. The old man Yamamoto opened his eyes, and his eyes flashed fiercely. In fact, the current old man Yamamoto has changed. If it was hundreds of years ago, when the Gote 13 team was not established, the character of the old man Yamamoto was at that time. Now it has reached the virtual circle, and then slaughtered Balagang. However, if you want to encircle and suppress 22, you need enough strength. The old man Yamamoto looked at the captains of each division. He is the chief captain, so it is definitely impossible to take action in person, and the captains of other divisions can only choose stronger personnel. Jingle Chunchui, Mochung Kenpachi, Saifeng Yuan Yaiki, Hikun Kiryu, and Hyuga Chen, you take people to the virtual circle, and make sure to damage the virtual circle. The old man Yamamoto also looked at Chen deliberately. Chen shrugged, but he didn't have any objections. The idlers were a little moldy, so it would be good to exercise at this time. After discussing about the virtual circle, the old man Yamamoto announced the dismissal of the meeting, and then asked Chen and the others to go to the virtual circle as soon as possible. To openly destroy the expeditionary army is to give the corpse soul world a gauntlet. If they don't fight, it doesn't mean that the corpse soul world is afraid of them. This time against Shu, I hope some people don't hold back. If they are in danger, I won't save them even if they die. Muchung Kenpachi said indifferently, and also glanced at Chen and Yushu Kiryu. Muchung Kenpachi has just defeated the previous Kenpachi, and he has not been in office for too long. He is not clear about Chen's strength, so it is a little bit incomprehensible that the chief captain dispatched the deputy captain to follow. As for Hibun Kiryu, the captain of the 12th division may be very good at research, but his combat power may not be that strong. He seems to think that he is very strong. Chen patted Yi Yi and said, "The Muchung family seems to be very pitiful. Now the Muchung family has died in name only, but they are geniuses and very powerful." Yi Yi said. Also the captain of the Gote 13th team, Yoruichi, also had a little understanding of Muchung Kenpachi. Yeah, it's really strong. If he can defeat the previous Kenpachi, how could he be weak? Hazun Kiryu leaned over and said, "Captain Hikun, what are you doing here?" Yi Yi looked at Hikun Kiryu with a hint of vigilance in his eyes. If he were to join Team Zero, Hekafuna Kiryu, who became a fat girl in order to cook, might not be so vigilant. However, Kiryu Hazun in front of him is a beautiful elder sister, which of course makes people feel vigilant, mainly because the figure is better than that of Yaiki. The same captain, don't you reject me so much. I'm here to see the handsome guy. Hibun Kiryu stared at Chen. Is it so direct? Chen looked at Kiryu Haikashu, who was staring at him unblinkingly, and asked, "Would you like to have an in-depth exchange with me?" Haikashu Kiryu was stunned for a while, then asked with a smile, "How deep is it?" "Enough, you give me enough time." Yi Yi hurriedly interrupted the conversation between them. Chong, who followed behind, looked at Chen angrily and couldn't help kicking Chen. Going to the virtual circle, I still brought a tow oil bottle. Muchung Janpachi said calmly. Chen looked at Muchung Janba, his eyes became dangerous, he knew who Muchung Janba was referring to the oil bottle, and it was nothing more than Chong. Chong looks extremely delicate, and basically at first glance, it is equated with weak strength. Is there something wrong with you guy? Yi Yi said ill-naturedly, not interrupting anything. Do you think he is very capable? Hazun Kiryu was also a little uncomfortable. No one would have a good impression of those who mocked him in the first place. Why is the atmosphere so dignified? Don't worry Muchung. Those who are imaginary are definitely not our opponents. Seeing that the atmosphere was not right, Jingle Chunchui hurriedly made a sound. Jingle Chunchui didn't want to start working on his own before he reached the virtual circle, but he knew that Chen was not a good-natured person. If you dare to say nonsense again, believe it or not, I will let you die in the virtual circle. Chen gave Mochung Janba a cold look. Humph, can you give it a try? Muchung Kenpachi snorted coldly. Okay, then I'll put my words here. You can leave the virtual circle alive and count me as a loser. Chen sneered. Chen, don't say a few words. Jingle Chunchui shouted. Your words are also what I want to say to you. Jingle Chunchui's face froze, and a surge of anger rose in his heart. Before he saw the emptiness, his own people were about to do it. But Jingle Chunchui doesn't understand. Could it be that Muchung Kenpachi and Hyuga Chen have a grudge? Chen, do you want to kill him now? Chong asked softly. No, he seems to have a lot of hatred with Shu. Let him die in Shu's hands. Chen said with a smile. Their conversation did not shy away from Muchung Kenpachi, who said it in front of him. Mochung Kenpachi exuded murderous aura, and the atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. Jingle Chunchui secretly sighed, ready to wait for the real conflict. He will come to 510 to clear the siege. Soon they came to the virtual circle, and it was not only them who came to the virtual circle, but also the players and officers who were drawn from various teams. The gods of death came to the virtual circle, and Balagang quickly got the news, but Balagang didn't have the slightest fear. Order the men to gather quickly, prepare to destroy these gods of death, and then attack the corpse soul world and slaughter the entire corpse soul world. As long as the corpse soul world can be wiped out, the world can be easily controlled. At that time, he will not only be the king of the virtual circle. At that time, he was the king of the three realms, the world, the corpse soul realm, and the virtual circle, all obeying his orders. Thinking of that day, Balagang couldn't help laughing. However, the dream of Balagang was a little too beautiful. He had never met an opponent and thought he was invincible in the world. It's not good to be arrogant. Jingle Chunchui looked at the virtual circle and fell into contemplation. This time, he was in charge of the virtual circle. Although Jingle Chunchui looks very unreliable, he himself is not unreliable, otherwise he will not become the next captain after the death of old man Yamamoto. This is the virtual circle, not the corpse soul world, so when facing the virtual world, you must be careful and don't be careless. Jingle Chunchui instructed them. It is not so easy to come to the virtual circle. If something happens, it will be troublesome to ask the Soul Society to support. Chapter 655 Follow the broken bees of the virtual circle. Let's clear the surrounding area first, build a new camp, and remember to send a signal when you encounter danger, Jingle Chunchui said. It's better not to be alone. Mochung Janpachi glanced at Chen and said lightly. He tilde. Chen sneered twice. UTM is going to die soon, and you dare to threaten me. It seems that you can't wait to die. Chen, I think let me kill him. Chong looked at his black doll rabbit. A blatant threat. It doesn't seem suitable to be the captain. I have to react with the captain. Kiryu Hazun said coldly. Yi glanced at Mochung Janba, and in his heart he had already sentenced him to death. Mochung Kenpachi, pay attention to your words. Jingle Chunchui roared gloomily. This time he was really angry. This time it was him who led the team, and he was the commander-in-chief. Although Jinglekin was always in a daze, he didn't allow others to give him no face at all. Aizen was also among them. At this time, Aizen had already moved to the third seat and smiled at this scene. Actually had a conflict with Hyuga Chen, but Aizen has the intention of watching a good show. If it can be the best fight, Aizen may be able to observe Hyuga Chen's strength from it. Mole City Kenpachi Aizen also understands that his strength is quite strong, and he may be able to force out some of Hyuga Chen's strength. Lan Ran is very wary of Chen, because every time he sees Chen, he seems to be looking at a fog, and he has no idea what is hidden in the fog. Broken Bee, why are you here? Yi Yi looked at the Broken Bee, his brows furrowed all of a sudden. Broken Bee lowered his head, not daring to look into Yi Yi's eyes. She sneaked in, knowing that Yi Yi was going to the dangerous virtual circle. Broken Bee wanted to come along. However, at night, seeing that Broken Bee is still young, he refused to follow him to the virtual circle, and then Broken Bee quietly sneaked in. Broken Bee, hurry back now, this is not a place you can come. Yi Yi said seriously. Yi Yi has already regarded Broken Bee as her younger sister. In this dangerous virtual circle, even she can't guarantee her safety, let alone the weak Broken Bee. I want to protect the safety of Lord Yi. Broken Bee said stubbornly. Yi Yi looked at the extremely stubborn Broken Bee and felt very helpless. If I were in danger, you would die if you came. The little girl is very stubborn, let Yi Yi say anything, but refuses to go back, she must stay here. Give her to me, Chen said while holding down the head of the bee. Yi Yi looked at Chen and nodded. If he followed Chen, his safety must be guaranteed. Although Yi Yi didn't know how strong Chen was, it was absolutely fine to run the virtual circle. No, I'm going to follow Lord Yi. Broken Bee shook his head. Your strength is just an oil bottle for Yi Yi. Originally, with Yi Yi's strength, he would not encounter any danger, but with you, it is not necessarily. Chen looked at Broken Bee and said. Yi Yi has a fast speed and has the title of an instant god. Even if he can't beat him, he can definitely run away. Hearing what Chen said, Broken Bee lowered her head. Sure enough, her strength is still too weak. Can't help at all. Follow me first. At least it can guarantee your safety and won't let you fall into empty rations. Chen took the Broken Bee and handed the Broken Bee to Chong. Chew, look at her, lest she run around and become an empty ration. You are underestimating me, I'm not that weak. Broken Bee said angrily. Hee tilde. What do you mean? Shubi asked angrily. In my eyes, you are really a rookie. Chen held down the little head of the bee, making the angry her helpless. Glancing at Mochung Janpachi who had left, Chen Ruo followed without incident, while Chong followed with Shufeng. Let go of me, this makes me very embarrassed. Broken Bee shouted in embarrassment, it was indeed very embarrassing to be carried. You're too weak, Achilleon can eat you. Chong said, and then followed Chen with the Broken Bee. Damn, are you able to protect me? Broken Bee was very suspicious of Chong's strength, although she couldn't break free, which made Broken Bee more surprised by Chong's strength. However, Broken Bee still doesn't think the dome is strong. I'm more powerful than that woman Yi Yi. I have no problem protecting you. If you sneak into the virtual circle, you will die. Chong glanced at her lightly. As far as the strength of Broken Bee is concerned, it is estimated that it will be difficult to solve a powerful void. This kind of strength comes to the void circle and is here to die. I don't believe it, how could you be as powerful as Lord Yi, who is the strongest? As long as Yi Yi was mentioned, the eyes of Broken Bee revealed endless admiration. Cut tilde. If you don't believe it, forget it. Chong didn't mean to explain to Broken Bee, and she didn't bother to explain. Hurry up and put me down, I want to go by myself. Broken Bee felt very uncomfortable being carried, but she couldn't break free from Chong's hand. You're walking too slowly on your own, and don't talk too much, or I'll throw you to Killian to eat. Under the words of Chong's threat, Broken Bee closed his mouth, because Broken Bee felt that Chong was not joking. The scene of Chen following Mochung Kenpachi, the busier Jingle Chunchui didn't notice it, but Hazun Kiryu did, but he didn't say anything. In addition to Haikashu Kiryu, Aizen also saw this scene, but Aizen had her own mission, so she couldn't keep up, which made Aizen feel a little pity. Deputy Captain Hirako, I will take more care of you later. Aizen had a gentle smile on her face, looking at Mako Hirako with her sister's head in front of her. Hirako Mako had a weird smile on his face, and in his heart, Aizen had a gentle smile on Aizen at this moment, and Aizen, who made the entire 5th Division very fond of him, was full of vigilance. Hirako Mako has a strong 6th sense. In his sense, Aizen is as terrifying as a poisonous snake. Aizen can also feel Hirako Mako's alert, but Aizen has been hiding it as if she hadn't found it. In fact, Aizen didn't understand why Hirako Mako was so wary of him, and he obviously didn't show anything. As the vice captain, of course it's my responsibility to take care of you all. Hirako Mako retracted the eyes that looked at Aizen and said with a smile. Aizen chuckled lightly, then adjusted her glasses, which were shining brightly. Chen unhurriedly followed Muchung Kenpachi in front, and Muchung Kenpachi also found Chen following behind. Chen didn't hide it deliberately, so Muchung Kenpachi was very easy to find out. If Chen didn't hide it deliberately, he couldn't find it, it only meant that he was too naive. However, Mochung Janba pretended not to notice, and rushed into the distance. It was too close to the camp, which was not good for him. Chapter 656 Mole City Sword 8 is dead. After coming far enough, Muchung Kenpachi stopped, then turned his head and said indifferently, "Come out. Your tracking is too clumsy." Chen walked out with a smile. Chong also came to Chen's side and put down the broken bees. "Finally let me down, but what are you doing?" Broken Bee felt that the atmosphere was not right, and it seemed to be full of chills. "You have the guts to come with me, do you think you are my opponent?" Muchung Kenpachi asked indifferently. No, you made a mistake, your opponent is not me." Chen smiled and clapped his hands. As Chen clapped his hands, a tyrannical spiritual pressure burst out, and then surrounded Mochung Janba. Looking at the dozen or so Chukas around, and 2 women with extremely terrifying Reiatsu, Muchung Kenpachi's expression was no longer as calm as before. "Hyuga-chan, you actually colluded with Shu." Muchung Kenpachi roared angrily. Seeing this scene, he still didn't understand. Broken Bee also looked at Chen in surprise, took a few steps back, looked at Chen with extreme vigilance, and thought about how to escape. "Little girl, do you want to escape?" Chen turned around with an evil smile on his face. What do you want to do?" Broken Bee was so frightened that she was about to cry. She didn't expect this man to be with Shu. "No way, you've already seen something you shouldn't see, so of course I can't leave you." Chen sighed and walked towards Broken Bee step by step. Broken Bee's face is like ashes. It's over, this time she's dead, pity she's going to die at such a young age. Death is not scary, what is scary is the man in front of him, but he is very familiar with Lord Yi, who does not know the true face of this man at all. What if this man is plotting something wrong? Broken Bee's eyes were firm. If she wanted to escape, she had to escape and tell Lord Yi that this person and Shu were in the same group. "Little girl, now you only have 2 ways. One way is to rely on me, and the other way, I think you are smart, you should be able to think of it." Chen said with a smile. "Humph, even if I die, I will never be in the company of Shu." Broken snorted coldly and looked at Chen stubbornly. "Alas, there's no other way. After you die, I'll have to deal with Yi Yi next. You shouldn't even care about your master Yi Yi." When Broken Bee heard it, her heart tightened, and her face was filled with anger. "Lord Chen, she is so pitiful, can you let her go?" Nailu asked Chen. Broken Bee lowered his head and hesitated for a while, then said, "Okay, I promise to rely on you, but you must not be detrimental to Lord Yi." "Well, it depends on your own performance." Chen squeezed the face of the bee and said with a smile. Chong glanced at Chen with contempt, specifically bullying the little girl, what a scumbag. The one with the most gloomy face was Muchung Kenpachi, because Chen didn't even look at him at all, and completely regarded him as air. "Do you think you can take me down just based on some emptiness?" 63 Thunder Roar Cannon. Mochung Kenpachi gave up singing, not because he didn't want to sing, but because he couldn't sing at all. It was a waste of time, and the body would be cold after he finished singing. Achukas, who was hit by the lightning, flew out, but a thunder roar couldn't kill Achukas. Do it, use false flash. Harabel ordered Achukas. More than a dozen Achukas used phantom flashes together, and the phantom flashes used by Yachukas could be released faster than Killian. Killian's virtual flash is basically useless, because it can't hit anyone at all, but Achukas is different. Bound Dao 81. Break the empty, break the empty, break the empty, break the empty. Mochung Janba released 4 broken air in a row, relying on the broken air to temporarily block the virtual flash, and then quickly used Shunbu to escape, and rushed towards Chen. You dare to approach Lord Chen alone. Harabel used the giant sword to slash Mochung Kenpa and fly back. Mochung Kenpachi is indeed very powerful, but compared to Halibal, the gap is huge. Your ghost path is well used. If I hadn't known that you were the captain of the 11th Division, I would have thought you were a big ghost master. Chen looked at Mochung Kenpachi and said. Mochung Kenpachi is indeed a genius, all his slashing fists are not weak, but they are not weak, he still can't reach the level of Aizen. Just hit the ground, a new round of virtual flash came again, this time Mochung Kenpachi was hit, and was severely injured in just an instant. You're not dead yet, it seems that you are very resistant to fighting. Chen looked at Mochung Janpachi unexpectedly, and was hit by more than a dozen consecutive virtual flashes. Mochung Janpachi actually survived. The 96 of the path. 1. Knife cremation. The huge blade-like flames slashed towards the surrounding, and in just an instant, they slaughtered 5 Achukas. This is a sacrificial break, although it will pay the price of burning the arm, but it can exert a huge formidable power, one of the strongest attacks. Conquer him, Queen of the King. Broken waterfall. Halibal's move resisted Mochung Kenpachi's one-knife cremation, but after Mochung Kenpachi released this move, he no longer had the power to resist. Kangjan Cannon. Mojo City Kenpachi was instantly bombarded to death, but killing 5 Achukas before dying was considered worthwhile. The captain was just killed like this. Broken Bee stared blankly, the battle had only started not long ago. Okay, let's retreat first. It's estimated that someone will come soon. Chen said to Halibal and Nailu. Yes, Harabel nodded, then left with Nailu and the rest of Achukas. The spiritual pressure here fluctuates so much, it is estimated that someone will come to check it soon. Why did you kill him? Broken Bee looked at Chen suspiciously. Because he's courting death himself, his mouth is so cheap, he has to say a few more words. Chen said lightly. Broken Bee lowered her head. She is now thinking about what to do. Should she wait for someone to come and expose him for colluding with Shu? But she is very soft-spoken, even if she says it out, no one will believe it, and with the strength of those false displays, it should be more dangerous to say that Lord Yi Yi is more dangerous. After struggling in his heart for a long time, Broken Bee decided not to speak out, pretending to surrender for the time being, and then trying to find a way to tell Lord Yi later. Chen didn't know that Broken Bee thought so much, he was just joking with Broken Bee, but Yi Yi didn't know that he was related to Shu. Sure enough, after a while, Jingle Chunchui brought people here, looked at Chen who was standing here and asked, Chen, do you know what just happened? Why did Captain Mochung's Reiatsu suddenly disappear? In fact, Jingle Chunchui is very suspicious of Chen. The disappearance of Mochung Kenpachi's spiritual pressure definitely has something to do with him. It is very likely that Mochung Kenpachi is dead now, otherwise his spiritual pressure will not disappear. Chapter 657. Others saw it. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Chen shrugged and said, I just saw a group of shuis surrounding Mochung Kenpachi and then killing him. I think it should be Balagang who did it. Chen put this cauldron directly on Balagang's head. I don't know if Balagang would be wronged when he knew about it. Jingle Chunchui looked at Chen, he didn't believe this statement, but the air was indeed filled with a spiritual pressure that belonged to emptiness. The Reiatsu of Shinigami is not the same as the Reiatsu of Shu, which is easy to feel. Since you saw it, why didn't you save our captain? The 11th team member looked at Chen angrily. Surrounded by more than a dozen Yachukas, and Vastad, how can you help me? Besides, he is your captain, not mine. Chen said lightly. Chen, what did you say? A dozen Achukas, and Vastad. Jingle Chunchui was startled, and then hurriedly asked. If this is the case, it would be a bit scary. Yachukas is not weaker than ordinary captains, and Vastord is more powerful. Jingle Chunchui is not sure if he can beat him. That's right. Chen smiled and nodded. After Jingle Chunchui heard the news, he fell into deep thought, and now he can't care about the death of Muchung Kenpachi. Although the captain was killed, this matter is very important, but the virtual matter is even more important. These are more than a dozen Achukas, and Vastord leads. If they are not careful, they will be wiped out. How did the strength of the virtual circle suddenly become so powerful? Jingle Chunchui said in distress. Yizhou Kiryu glanced at Chen. She could be sure that Mochung Kenpachi was definitely not killed by falsehood, and must have died in Chen's hands, but Yizhou Kiryu did not say. However, Hazun Kiryu really guessed wrong. Mochung Kenpachi really did not die in his hands, but in the hands of his Halibal. But it's not wrong to say that Mochung Kenpachi's death had something to do with him. Beijing band leader, this is just Hugachin's one-sided words. Who knows if he killed our captain, but you know the contradiction between him and our captain. A member of the 11th team said. Little team member, slandering the deputy captain, but he will be executed. It happens that my second division is responsible for the execution. Yi said lightly. Jingle Chunchui glanced at Chen. He was the first to appear here. It was really suspicious. I just want justice for our captain, but I saw Hyuga Chen with my own eyes. Then go and ask your captain, who killed him. Yi beheaded the unfinished team member. Jingle Chunchui looked at Yi who suddenly made a move, with anger on his face, stared at Yi and asked, Captain Yi, why did you kill him? Kazuki Urahara in the back was also surprised. This was not the Yoichi he knew before. As a team member, slandering a deputy captain and provoking trouble, I think you should know what the crime is. I'm just executing it, Yi said casually. Jingle Chunchui took a deep look at Yi, and now he is more suspicious of Chen. Yi's behavior is more like covering up for Chen. Jingle Chunchui sighed, looked at Chen, who had an indifferent face, and then at Yi, suppressing the anger in his heart and leaving. Chen, I didn't expect you to be so courageous. Aizen came over and said with a smile. It's nothing, some people are courting death, but I can't stop them. I know Aizen, you're not such an idiot. Chen patted Aizen on the shoulder. Lan Ran looked at Chen who was leaving, with a strange light flashing in his eyes. He felt that the shoulder that was patted by Chen didn't seem to be his own. Is this a warning to me? After a long time, Aizen realized that her shoulders could move. Aizen, what are you doing there? Come with me to clean up the void. Hirako Mako shouted at Aizen. Coming soon, Captain Hirako. Aizen walked over with a smile. Don't call me the captain, I'm just the vice captain. Your name will be misleading. Hirako Mako turned around and said with a frown. With the strength of the vice captain, it should be easy to become the captain in the future. Aizen said sincerely. Hirako Mako looked at Aizen's sincere face, but felt a false feeling. Chen and Yi came together. Yi complained, why are you not careful? The previous member of the 11th team must have seen you follow Mochung Janpachi. Chen Wenyan shrugged and said with a smile, not only that player saw it, but others saw it. Yi was stunned when he heard the words, and then immediately asked, who is it? I'll deal with him, so that you won't be in trouble when you return to Soul Realm. Chen didn't speak, but looked at Hikun Kiryu in front of him, and Hikun Kiryu seemed to have noticed Chen's gaze, turned his head and smiled. Seeing Chen's eyes looking at Hikun Kiryu, Yi also understood that the person who saw it was Hikun Kiryu. It's just that Yi didn't understand why Hazun Kiryu didn't say it just now. Master Yi, do you know that he wants to kill the captain of Mole City? Broken Bee asked in surprise. Yi glanced at Broken Bee, nodded, and then said to Broken Bee, don't tell me. Master, that night, You also know that he and Shu are in the same group. Broken Bee continued to ask in confusion. I know this, those Shu Shichen's subordinates, don't tell other people about this Broken Bee. Yi Duo instructed the Broken Bee. If others knew, Na Chen would definitely be hunted down by all the gods of death in the Soul realm. Yi Yi knew that Chen was strong, but Yi Yi also knew the unfathomable depths of the Soul world. On the bright side, the strength of the Soul Society seems to be incomparable to the Virtual Circle, but that's the reason why Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju Kuni didn't make a move for a long time, and the Zero team didn't show up. So no matter how confident Yi Yichen is, he can't help but worry, which is why Yi Yi killed that 11th team member without hesitation just now. Broken Bee nodded. Since Lord Yi asked her not to say it, Broby would never say it. But this man is so nasty, and he threatened her with Yi Yi, who had been with this man for a long time. It was too hateful. Before Broken Bee was tangled for a long time. What about Kiryu Hikaru? Will she say it? If she does, it can't be used as definite evidence, but it will definitely be troublesome. Yi Yixiang asked Chen. Don't worry about her, she is a smart person and knows what she should do. Chen said with a smile. I think you are looking at the woman's good figure and beautiful appearance, so don't let it go. Chang said with extremely strong resentment. Because of her figure, compared to Hikun Kiryu, she was like an undeveloped child, and she couldn't help but feel resentment when she saw Hikun Kiryu. Chapter 658 Say Hello with Virtual Flash. The death of Muchung Janpachi was temporarily put down. Anyway, the 11th team changed their captains diligently, and now the most important thing is the Virtual Circle. In a place less than 100 miles away from us, the army of Balagang is there, and Balagang is also there. According to the investigation, there will be at least 10 Achukas among them. Kiryu Hikun said. Hearing Hazun Kiryu's words, Jingle Chunchui's face was heavy, and he was no longer able to handle this force. I will send a request to the Soul Society for help, and Balagang will definitely take the initiative to attack. All we want is to stick to it and wait for the arrival of reinforcements. Jingle Chunchui said. It was obvious that he came to conquer the Virtual Circle, but now he has become passive and beaten. But this is also something that can't be helped. Hearing that there are no less than 10 Achukas, he knows that he can't beat it. The strength of Achukas is comparable to that of the captain. Maybe they really fight, and it may be the captain who wins, but of course there are so many Achukas, they can't beat them. What's more, there is also a Balagang. Balagang is known as the king of the Virtual Circle. Are there few brushes that can become the king of the Virtual Circle? Jingle Chunchui believes that he is strong, and he is not sure whether he is an opponent of Balagang, so waiting for reinforcements at this time is the best choice. Chen doesn't care, what Balagang can kill him with one kick. Jingle Chunchui wanted to wait for reinforcements, but Balagang would not miss this opportunity to weaken the strength of the Soul Society. With his group of men, he rushed towards the camp they built. Your Majesty, the strength of the gods of death should not be underestimated, so be careful. A subordinate said to Balagang. HMPH. How many people have they come? If you have to be careful with these gods of death, how can I conquer the soul world? Balagang said dissatisfied. Ignoring the suggestion of his subordinates, Balagang headed towards the camp to kill. If it wasn't for the time of employment, Balagang would definitely kill Achukas, who made this suggestion to be careful. It's not good. The leader of the Jing band, Balagang, came over with a virtual kill. A death team member rushed over in a panic. What? Jingle Chunchui stood up abruptly, stared nervously into the distance, and quickly summoned the gods of death to gather. You are the commander, and being in such a panic will affect your momentum. Chen said while drinking a little wine and eating barbecued meat. Next to Yaiki and Hazun Kiryu were sitting around, eating barbecue together, all looking leisurely. Jingle Chunchui was a little angry in his heart. What time is this, and he is still so leisurely here? His eyebrows are already on fire. Do you know that Balagang has already attacked with a large army, and you are still here leisurely? I know, But the leader of the Jing band doesn't need to be so anxious. We can run away anyway, and we won't die. Hibyun Kiryu said calmly. Maybe she is not Balaang's opponent, but if she runs away, Hikun Kiryu doesn't believe that Balaang can catch up with her, so Hikun Kiryu is very calm. Even if you can escape, what about the others? Jingo Chunchui said helplessly. Hikun Kiryu shrugged. She was the only one from the 12th division, that's why Hikun Kiryu was so calm. Soon he saw the figure of Balaang, and behind him were the dozen Achukas and thousands of Kirian. Use virtual flash together, Balaang ordered to the virtual behind. Whether it's Achukas or Kilian, they all use void flash together. Jingle Chunchui didn't expect that the king of the virtual circle, Balaang, was so inattentive. He used his big move as soon as he came up. Without talking about it, he directly greeted him with a virtual flash. Originally, Jingle Chunchui still wanted to fight with Balaang and delay for some time, but Balaang did not give him this chance at all. Hurry up and retreat, retreat. Jingle Chunchui ordered. It's not that Jingle Chunchui doesn't want to resist, the key is that there is no way to resist it. What can you use to resist this kind of super firepower? The Phantom Flash is a unique trick of the virtual, and the power of the Phantom Flash released by a Kilian should not be underestimated, not to mention so many Kilian, including Achukas. The favored son of the sky, the Iron City Wall, the dragon walking, the lion roaring, the tiger roaring, the wolf rushing, severing the heaven and the earth before it collapses, the 81 tying of the road, breaking the sky. Kiraku Chunsui chanted quickly, use the sky to create a transparent defensive wall, and wanted to use the defensive wall to resist for a moment. It's impossible to completely block it, but at least it can block some attacks. Others who can bind the way also use it quickly, and after using it, they flee quickly. Aren't you guys going to run? Hazun Kiryu put down the barbecue and looked at Chen and the others in astonishment. Don't run, Chen said calmly. All the virtual flashes that came over were reflected back by the vector operation. What kind of ability is this? Is your Zanpakuto ability? Hibyun Kiryu asked in surprise, and then Hibyun Kiryu found himself asking something he shouldn't have asked. Sorry, I was just curious and didn't inquire about your idea of Zanpakuto's abilities. Kiryu Hazun explained quickly. Nothing, this is not my Zanpakuto's ability. Experiencing the two worlds of Hokage and pirates, his methods are simply countless and indescribable. Isn't Zanpakuto's ability? Although Kiryu Hibyun was curious, he did not continue to inquire. It's easy to be disgusting to inquire about the abilities of others, except for those who pretend to be coercive. Let's go too. It seems a little too dazzling. Balaang is already staring at me. Chen patted the sand on his body and stood up. Then, using the space ability, he left with Yi Yi, Chong, and Broken Bee, while Hikun Kiryu stayed here with a bewildered face. You run, why didn't you take me with you? Seeing the virtual flash coming from the sky and covering the sky again, Kiryu Hazun was no longer stunned, and he would be dead if he froze any longer. Skilled use of Shunpo, constantly dodging the incoming virtual dodge, any attack is avoided. Focus on that woman for me, Balaang 2.5 said. The phantom flashes that Chen reflected back caused them to kill and injure a few, which made Balaang very angry, but when Chen ran away, there was only one woman left. It's over. Feeling the danger of ultimate, Kiryu Hazun was extremely dignified, but he didn't expect those who were ignorant of others to focus exclusively on her. Just as Hikun Kiryu was preparing to resist, a dark cave opened behind her, and then a hand stretched out and grabbed Hikun Kiryu, pulling her into the dark cave. Sorry, I left you there before. Chen apologized to Kiryu Hazun. After seeing that it was Chen, Yujo Kiryu breathed a sigh of relief, and then gave Chen a big Byakugan. He didn't hear the slightest sincerity in the apology just now. Chapter 659 Bail Gun Run. Just now, it almost scared me to death. Hazun Kiryu complained. If Shu didn't focus on attacking her, it would be fine, but Shu's attacks concentrated and attacked her specifically. This is the phantom flash released by more than 1,000 big phantoms. Although her strength is okay, she can't escape. If Chen hadn't used Yomatsu Hirasaka to pull her back, she wouldn't have died, and she might have been maimed. Don't complain, we don't seem to know each other very well. I can save you because you look beautiful. If you are a fat ant, I will definitely not care about your life or death. Chen said softly. If Hikashu Kiryu is in the form of that fat ant now, even if she knew that she was thin and beautiful, Chen would never save her. I didn't expect you to be a face seeker, alas. Hibun Kiryu sighed. Nonsense, I don't know you well, so what are you looking at without looking at your face? Kingo Chunshui and the others seem to be having a hard time, don't you want to help? Kiryu Hazun looked at the 22-year-old Jingle Chunshui who was extremely difficult. Why don't you go and help? I'm just a technical developer, and my combat effectiveness is not strong, said Kiryu Hazun. Although she was elected to Team Zero in the future, she did not enter Team Zero because of her strength, but because of her research ability. In terms of strength, Hazun Kiryu couldn't even compare to Jingle Chunshui. Jingle Chunshui is not dead yet, he is valued by old man Yamamoto, his strength is not that weak. Chen said, looking at Jingle Chunshui in the distance. Now Balagang has made Daxu stop using the virtual flash, but the virtual flash is a very expensive move, and it is impossible to use it all the time. After these few waves, those Killians couldn't hold it anymore, but in the next battle, Balagang didn't need these Killians to play. The 88th, Flying Dragon Strikes Thief, Thunder Cannon. A beam of light, Jinchuriki column, flew out of Chen's hand, hitting the emptiness in an instant. The Kili security forces were annihilated, and Achukas was killed several times. What a strong ghost. Hazun Kiryu's pupils shrank suddenly, this ghost is a bit strong. If you hit the squadron leader, the leader-level Reaper will definitely die, and there is no chance of being spared. Aren't you ready to take action? Yi Yi said, looking at Chen. My hands are a little itchy, so I can't help but take action. I guess Balagang should be very satisfied with my gift. Chen said with a smile. Balagang probably hates you to death. Yi Yi said speechlessly. Broken Bee looked at Chen in astonishment. He didn't expect the man in front of him to be so powerful, but that's right, how could there be such a powerful Shu as a subordinate without a strong strength? Jingle Chunshui was relieved to see this scene, but Hugachen's ghost power was really scary. Jingle Chunshui knew that Chen's white fight was very strong, and he had beaten Kuchiki Silverling once, but he didn't expect his ghost way to be so strong. Aizen's eyes flickered, and he knew that Hugachen's strength was unusual, and he might become his biggest opponent in the future. But there is an opponent, perhaps more interesting, isn't it? However, Chen Kai did not regard Aizen as an opponent. Although he had resourcefulness, he couldn't keep up with his strength. In the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy was a cloud. Bastard, dare to kill so many of my men, I will kill him. Balagang roared. In fact, so many Killian died, and Balagang didn't care too much. Killian grabbed a lot in the Great Void Forest, but 2 Achukas died, which made Balagang feel distressed. There are not many Kyrians who are eligible to evolve into Achukas, so the number of Achukas is exceptionally small. This is also a fool of Balagang. He doesn't know the captive breeding method used by Chen Chen. Daxu catches too much, so that they can devour each other, and eventually they will be able to evolve. An angry Balagang rushed towards Chen. Balagan is here, I'll go meet him. Yi Yi had a hint of excitement on his face, the king of the virtual circle, his strength should not let her down. Lan's feet. Yi Yi quickly kicked the air, kicking out a vacuum slash. There is not a trace of spiritual pressure in it, it is purely a vacuum slash caused by kicking the air. Balagang, who rushed over, was slashed out by the vacuum slashing blade, and smashed back like a meteor. It's the first time I used Lan's feet to fight an enemy. It's really amazing, Yi Yi said with great satisfaction. Master Yi is amazing. Broken Bee had little stars in his eyes. Compared to Yi Yi, who was very satisfied, Balagang wasn't in such a good mood. Being bombarded back with a single move was nothing but shame. Balagang feels really embarrassed, especially when so many people are watching. This is a shame for him, and the shame needs the blood of the enemy to wash away. Wang Shu's flash. Now Balagang is just a Vastord, not a broken face, so he doesn't have Zanpakuto at all. Wang Shu's flash is his strongest ability. Although the speed is very fast, it's still close to hitting me. Yi left the spot in an instant, letting the flash of Wang Shu of Balagang hit the empty space. Damn, I don't believe that you can hide all of them. Balagang used the ring to appear behind Yi, and the claws stabbed towards Yi's back. But after the stab, he didn't feel the feeling of being stabbed in the body, watching Yi's figure slowly dissipate. At this time Balagang also understood. What he hit was just an afterimage, not the body. At this time, it was too late to use the ring switch to leave. Yi kicked 967 on the back of his head, instantly blasting Balagang into the ground. After smashing a large hole, the sand began to bury Balagang. Yi released observation haki. Beware of Balagang's attack. She didn't believe that Balagang could be solved so easily. If Balagang is easily solved, then he, the king of the virtual circle, is too unworthy of his name. In fact, the title of the king of the virtual circle is really a bit unreal. The current Haribel is much stronger than the original book, and there is no problem in hanging Balagang at this time. Who has not become a faceless face, and she will definitely not lose. There is also a Koyatai Stark who can break his face on his own, and he must be stronger than Balagang. Sure enough, Balagang was not resolved, and he used the ring to appear on the side of the knight, wanting to launch a sneak attack. However, under the guidance of Yi Yizai Chen, he has been very proficient in using observation haki and armament haki. When Balagang first appeared, Yi thought that the prophet's attack was coming. His fist wrapped around armament haki and hit Balagang's head. Balagang was hit a few hundred meters away, and his head was dazed. After he recovered, Balagang didn't want to suffer even a few losses, and he didn't want to fight Yi. After taking a deep look at Yi, and then using the ring switch to leave, the king of the virtual circle ran away in such a shameful way. Chapter 660 Take the initiative. I didn't expect Balagang to be so shameless. Just leave. Yi was very dissatisfied. She hadn't fought enough. Balagang fled, and those Achukas also retreated together. The god of death who was running away stopped, and he was relieved. Jingle Chunchui looked at Yi in amazement. He didn't expect Yi to be so strong, and he defeated Balagang with just a few moves. It was really incredible. Thinking that he has lived for so many years, his strength is not as good as that of Saifeng Yuan Yi, Jingle Chunchui wanted to kill him. However, the defeat of Balagang overnight also made Jingle Chunchui feel at ease, at least not having to worry about the crisis of the annihilation of the group. Everyone, take a rest first. Deal with your injuries, don't let your guard down. I believe that Balagang will not give up so easily. Jingle Chunchui shouted. Although Balagang is running away now, this does not mean that Balagang has conceded defeat. With Balagang's ambition, he will definitely not give up so easily. How is it? I was amazing just now. Yi looked at Chen contentedly and asked. Just a Vastord, see how proud you are. Chong pouted and said. When Yi was most contented, Chong directly gave Yi a blow, making Yi's kiba tickle. It's so. It's just to deal with Balagang. Chenpai said with a wave of his hand. What do you mean by dealing with Balagang? Is Balagang weak in your eyes? Yi complained. It's true that the current Balagang is too weak to let me see. If he has Zanpakuto after his face is broken, I can look at him more. Chen Dan said with a smile. Zanpakuto. Can I have Zanpakuto too? What is a broken face? Hibun Kiryu looked at Chen and asked suspiciously. This is a secret, of course I can't tell you. Chen said with a smile on his face. Yushu Kiryu looked at Chen's smile, and for some reason, the more he looked at it, the more hateful he felt. Forget it, I'm not a very curious person anyway. Kiryu Hazun turned her head away, but she was really curious about this in her heart. Shu can also have Zanpakuto. This is the first time that Kiryu Hazune has heard. A few hours later, Shiro Yukitake brought people to the virtual circle, and he was stunned when he saw the scene of peace and harmony. How is this going? Doesn't it mean that the situation is very critical now? But no matter how you look at this time, you can't see that the situation is critical. Kindle, didn't you say it is very critical? You are not spreading fake news, are you? If you let the teacher know, you will be miserable. Shiro Yukitake said to Jingle Chunshui. I really didn't spread fake news, it was really dangerous before. Jingle Chunshui said, spreading his hands. Shiro Yukitake also felt that Jingle Chunshui would definitely not pass on false information. Although Jingle Chunshui is usually unreliable, as a friend, Shiro Yukitake knows that Jingle Chunshui is a very reliable person. Otherwise, Yamamoto Yuanliu Zaijiguo would not let Jingle Chunshui command. What's the situation? Yukitake Shiro asked. Just now, we were very dangerous. We were almost killed by the group. It was Captain Yi who shot and drove away Balagang, and we were safe and sound. Jingle Chunshui said. Captain Yi beat up Balagang. Shiro Yukitake glanced at Yi who was talking to Chen in the distance in disbelief. That's right, this guy in Balagang, he's just too bad if he can't beat him and run away. Jingle Chunshui denounced Balagang in his heart, and he ran away if he couldn't beat him. I didn't expect Captain Yi to be so powerful. You have brought a lot of people. It's just that, I'm going to counterattack Balagang. If we hit it, we want to run away. How can it be so easy? Jingle Chunshui said angrily. Of course, Jingle Chunshui also has his own calculations. Now that Balagang is only a temporary retreat, he will definitely not give up his ambitions. Rather than waiting for Balagang to make a comeback, it is better to take action in advance and catch Balagang by surprise. What's more, now that Balagang has been defeated, the morale is low, and it is a good opportunity for them to take the initiative. Take the initiative. It's very dangerous. This is an empty circle, who knows how much power Balagang hides. Shiro Yukitake said with a frown. It doesn't matter, with the support of the people you lead, he can definitely hit Balagang. Even if he has any hidden strength, he is not our opponent. Okay, you are the commander-in-chief, you have the final say. Shiro Yukitake shook his head. After resting for a while, Jingle Chunshui ordered to take the initiative to attack, which made many gods of death very excited. They originally came to attack the virtual circle. But who knows, he was beaten as soon as he came up, and every god of death had anger in his heart and wanted to take revenge. It seems a bit irrational to take the initiative to attack. Kiryu Hazune frowned slightly. Exactly, I still want to fight Balagang, and this time I will never let him escape. Yi said excitedly, clenching his fists. Under the leadership of Jingle Chunshui, he slaughtered in a mighty direction towards the retreat of Balagang. Chen and the others walked at the back, and Sufeng's little hand grabbed the hem of Chen's clothes and looked at him expectantly. The reason for this, of course, is because Broken Bee wanted Chen to teach her. After hearing that Yi's moves were taught by Chen, Broken Bee asked Chen to teach her. You can follow Yi to learn, Chen said, looking at the troublesome little girl. That will delay Master Yi's time. I don't want to delay Master Yi's time. Broken Bee tilted her head and said. Isn't it time to co-author me? I'm also very busy, but I don't have time to teach you. Chen patted the head of the bee and said. Let the dome teach you. I don't want it. Chang refused immediately. She didn't know how to teach others, nor was she interested in teaching others. Broken Bee stared at Chen with big eyes, holding Chen's clothes tightly with her hands and didn't let go, as if to say, if you don't teach me, I will never let go. Okay, I'll teach you again after I return to the Soul Realm. Chen nodded and said. Broken Bee is still looking at Chen. What? Are you still afraid that I will deceive you? There is no benefit for me to deceive you, not to mention that I will deceive you as a little girl. Chen looked at Broken Bee rather unhappily. That's not necessarily. Chang interrupted suddenly. Shut up. Don't ask me for snacks in the future. Chen tapped Chong on the head. The two cockroach whiskers on the dome head moved, then squatted on the ground and looked at Chen aggrieved. Chew, I don't have any strength, you can stop pretending. Chen looked at Chong, who was crouching on the ground like a pitiful little animal. Humph. Big idiot. Chong stood up, then gave Chen a big Byakugan, and walked in front of him angrily. Chen couldn't make out his head, and sometimes he really didn't understand what Chong was thinking.